Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. Welcome. I am Charles, otherwise known as CPO, otherwise known as CP. Today we're discussing Fantastic Fest 2025 in the rear view, finally. I'm joined with two people who have some experience. To bottom screen right is Gray Poupet, my partner in crime for the Fantastic Fest coverage. Gray, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, and I'm excited to be talking about some of these films that, sadly, I want to see a bunch of them, and I don't think we will be able to for quite some time. But man, what a good taste on such a fun genre of films.
And rounding out the group in the top right corner is Cody. Cody just came back from Austin, Texas, and he's seen at least 2 times as many films as we have. Cody, how are you?
I'm pretty good. It's been almost 2 weeks, and I just now am starting to feel like I'm recovering from the 8 days. It's a drain. It's fun. It's awesome. It's one of my favorite points of the year, but it is draining. No matter how much you love movies, you watch 27 of them in 8 days, and you're just like,
Yeah, so apparently there was an echo on Gray. I'm just checking to see if Cody's all right. Gray, if you don't mind just chiming back, I think I fixed it. It's
Yeah,
never right.
hopefully, no echo this time, but yeah, still good to be here.
Yeah.
Echo. I don't know if you can hear me or if you can hear 7 of me.
Echo on both of
them.
us.
Echo
All right, how
on
about
both.
now?
Thanks, Alex.
You fucked this up.
I change it back and then it breaks one time and then it's like now I can hear no one and Cody's good and Gray's good. Is that an accurate statement now?
I think that's a thumbs up now. How you doing, Charles?
Dark chocolate coating built. I'm just trying to think of random shit to say. Sorry.
No, I appreciate you doing that. See, so this on my end, I have you guys muted, but it sounds better. So like
What the fuck?
Never with OBS. From now on, it's going to be StreamYard.
So how do you hear us then if we're muted?
I don't know.
He reads lips.
I have 7 audio ins and 6 of them are muted. The other one is my mic. So I don't know. I'll burn that bridge next time, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Apologies. Let's take this all over again. Cody, we had a bit of a trial run last weekend, and we had ended up seeing 6 total films, and we saw a couple more after that. We had a little bit of Q&A with the remote coverage, but Cody, you were there in the flesh, experiencing things, going to the secret screenings. What was the experience like for the big time stuff, the more popular releases, should I say?
It was a really good festival this year. Like with all things considered, with all the different elements of being there, it was probably the most fun that I've ever had. It started off rough the first 3 days, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 films. I was like, oh my God, this is a terrible year. Like you could watch the shorts of me doing out of theater react and just see me get progressively more disheveled. Where like Rudy actually like texted me on day 3. He's like, dude, you got to fucking sleep. You look awful. And I'm like, I'm sleeping fine. These movies just suck. And so, yeah, it kicked off with Primate, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. And, that was a movie I didn't have any expectations for. And then basically with the exception of Shelby Oaks, which I had already seen twice at that point. So there was no like excitement to see that at the festival necessarily.
Cody's not excited for the Stuckman shit. Remember that. He's just said it.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, the only movie that I've already seen that we're about ready to walk into, aside from that movie, everything else was just like dud, miss, dud, angry, dud. And I'm like, oh my God. And usually you hit that, like you get like maybe 1 or 2 days of that at the festival, but it's usually in the back half. Usually you have a pretty good little string of things. And then all of a sudden you have a couple of shit days where you're like, oh man, I'm starting to feel the wall. And then you'll start to recover a bit in the back end. So this was like the opposite of that, where I'm starting off with the fucking boulder on my back, where I'm like, oh my God, I still got 6 more days of this shit. And then suddenly on day 4, it's like this miraculous turnaround. And it was just off to the races for the most part, all the way to the end. So it was weird. But I think it was actually like easier that way, because it was easier to like get a little bit of pep in my step towards the back half versus getting all the excitement out of the way. But yeah, a lot of the big releases specifically were really fun. There was a lot of smaller releases that I really enjoyed. The secret screenings had a bit of a mix of both. There wasn't aside from Strangers Chapter 2, there wasn't any like major release that is in the bottom chunk of my list. So
So, without throwing any films under the bus, like when was the first movie that you were like, "Oh yeah, this thing started. Like I'm here. This is it now."
what do you mean by that? Like as far as
So
getting rough?
yeah, without saying that your first couple of experiences were shitty, like what was the first movie that you saw and you were like, "Okay, now it can start. I've experienced my first fun, good movie," or whatever. Was it any of the so
Primate started it off with a bang. Primate was really, really fun. That made it into my top 6. That's a movie that comes out in January. It's Johannes Roberts. It's basically Cujo with a chimp. And so it seemed like a fun enough movie, but on its surface, I was like, I don't know, this could be fun, or this could be just like a generic little January streaming type movie. Like you never know. And Fantastic Fest does host a number of those films that just go straight to Shudder or
yeah.
straight to Paramount Plus. So, we had Pet Cemetery Bloodlines a couple years ago. We had Apartment 7A the year after that, which was much better than Pet Cemetery, but you catch my drift.
Mhm.
And
Um,
so yeah, Primate was a really good one to start off with because it's a film where no expectations. It just, they intro it, you get an idea of what this is going to be, and it starts off, and you got this guy that he's like a handler or like a vet or whatever that goes into this little cage where this chimp is, and the chimp looks really good and he's practical and he's sitting there and he looks like he's maybe a little bit sick, and the guy's trying to like get him out to pull out of his cage or whatever, and he attacks him, and all of a sudden you see this gore effect where you're like, whoa, yes, fuck yes. And the whole movie is all practical gore, and it keeps like upping itself with the level of gore. So it's very simple. I could see why people wouldn't like it as much as I did, but for just practical effects alone, I was like, fuck yeah, that was fun. So that kicked it off with a bang. And then I immediately followed that up with Crushed, which was my worst film of the festival. So
mhm.
I was like, oh, I was watching that movie at midnight on day one. I was like, oh God. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
well,
That
it's a
was,
midnight movie, all right, I guess.
oh,
So,
oh,
so
no.
for people that aren't aware, there are these secret screenings. Do you have any idea when you attend a secret screening, or is it just like something showing at 10 p.m. in theater one? We don't know what it like. How soon is it that you find out, or is it like literally in the theater?
In a perfect world, it's as they start the movie.
Oh wow.
So literally, it's just secret screening 1, secret screening 2, 3, however many they do. Last year was 5, this year was 4. And so you buy a ticket for it, you sit down, and usually they have some kind of like a little cheeky intro where they're like trying to divert your attention, or they'll like say some things. Like there was one guy who introed 2 of them, and he would basically just make a big speech out of like 7 other movies that it could be, where he would like say the word predator or something, and you're like, oh, you know what I mean? He would say things just to mess with you, and then they'll reveal what it is. But this year in particular, it seemed like all but one of them had leaked. And so
Hmm.
you have people that either got an inside word or something like that. So the first 3, we basically knew exactly what we were walking into at that point. The 4th one, there was a good amount of whispers of what it was, but it was the only one where it felt like, I don't know, it could be something different. So like Silent Night, Deadly Night was our first one. And we literally had a friend of ours that got an email that was inviting them to sometimes the press will actually like, or the PR company will reach out to individual critics or influencers or whatever, trying to get them to go to that specific screening. And so they're like, hey, do you want a ticket to secret screening 4? And so they got an email for secret screening 1 and to do the press day afterwards, but it literally had the title of the movie in it instead of secret screening 1.
Mhm.
And so I assume everybody they sent that email out to got that, and so that one leaked very quickly. We all
Oh
knew we were
wow.
walking into Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Okay.
And then the second one, everybody had a pretty good idea what it was. We had somebody in our group chat that I wish wouldn't have been quite as loose with those details, because I actually like the thrill of sitting down and not knowing, but they were just like, it's this, it's this. So yeah, 3 out of the 4, we were pretty well informed, but most years you literally don't know, and the guesses are always way off. There's always somebody who's like, I know, I have like I'm dating the sister of the cousin of the projectionist, and it's totally going to be Predator Badlands, and it's always wrong. So I always tell everybody, don't speculate too hard, don't listen to all the confirmations and shit. This year was a bit of an exception, but usually, yeah, I'm like, everybody's full of shit. Everybody tells you what it is. It's definitely this. They'll bet their testicles on it, and you sit down, and then it's fucking better, man. So just keep your expectations in check.
Gray, I'm going to give Cody a chance to breathe. On the flip side, for those of
Yeah.
us who covered remotely, what would you say for the experience for people who are doing this essentially on their time? And there is the pressure. You can't exactly pause it and come back later because they limit the plays on these remote watches. What is the experience like for someone who is participating remotely?
I think it's an amazing experience. I would love to actually be able to go to Austin and participate in this, but man, to be able to kind of do it on my own time, I think that's an awesome experience. It may even be better, but I'm kind of an introvert, so maybe that's just for me, not going in the crowds. But man, there's nothing like seeing an actual film play out with an audience. Just comedy doesn't hit as hard when it's just you sitting alone in a room. Horror does not play as hard. Man, that is the one thing that I miss. So I don't feel like I got the full experience. And then to be able to be in the room and actually get like an intro from, anybody about this, man, that would definitely help, because a couple of these, I didn't know what exactly I was getting into, just the little blurb that it gives you. I know there was one of them based off of just the title alone and kind of who they build as the top star. I was like, there's no way that that movie will be good. But
Mhm.
I don't know. It really surprised me.
Yeah.
On
So,
that note, you don't really actually
yes.
know a whole lot more at the festival as far as a lot of these movies, even if they intro it. And sometimes the way that those little blurbs you're talking about actually kind of fuck up your expectations. So, one that I won't be discussing today, I don't assume, is "Don't Leave the Kids Alone." I don't know if you guys saw that one, and it was the phrase inside of the blurb that caught my eye was "Supernatural Home Alone," and I was like, "Oh, that sounds
Yeah,
cool."
that
Mm.
sounds
I
awesome.
would not use that phrase to describe that movie. There's no booby traps. There's no fun to be had. There's no like, supernatural beings that are going after kids and they're fighting back. It's literally the only thing that it has to do with Home Alone is the two kids are home alone. That's it. And so sometimes those blurbs can fuck up your expectations pretty hard. There was like 2 or 3 movies where I'm like, I wish you wouldn't have sold it that way. I would have liked it more.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
guess as a fellow introvert, I would say that if a movie's not blowing up your skirt as much, there's a little less pressure, like to stand up and stretch maybe during the thing and be like, all right, let me take a breath here because this isn't going as smooth as I'd like it to be. Um, but yeah, the shared experience. I mean, there is a couple of movies that literally one of the film buyers told us we're not sending out screeners. This is something we prefer you to watch in theater, and apparently there was some gimmick to that. So understandable. I guess especially with this stuff with the midnight shows, like they're trying to cater to that experience, which is certainly understandable. But yeah, what of this? Again, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. Cody,
Fuck it. They can handle it.
says you. All right, so Chris stuck. No,
Never mind. Never mind.
so of the big tier stuff, Gray and I didn't see anything that was being released wide. The black phones. We did see VHS Halloween, but that's because that released this past week on Shudder. Of the big stuff, what was the most surprising? What was the most disappointing? Without saying any of them are good or bad, but
Strangers Chapter 2 was dog shit.
that
That
was
wasn't the
predicted.
question, though. Yeah. Most disappointing for me was Black Phone 2, but it's still in my top
Mhm.
10. I still like the movie. It's still a movie I could see myself rewatching. I think when I revisit it without such huge expectations, I think I'll be able to appreciate it a bit more. But I literally was like going to the festival for that movie. That could have been the only thing they
Oh
announced, and I
wow,
would have been
okay.
there. So like it's always exciting to catch up on or to discover the smaller stuff. That's always the most exciting part of it. But for the channel, I'm always most drawn to the movies that I think people actually are gonna watch the fucking review.
Mhm.
So Black Phone 2 was the one where I was like, oh, like that's the one. That's the one that I loved the first one so much. Wasn't totally sold on it needing a sequel, so there was that little asterisk in there. But yeah, Black Phone 2 was one where that was the end of day 3 for me, where I was just like, fuck, that didn't even deliver. I am so fucked. And so yeah, it's a movie where it spends so much energy trying to justify its own existence that it bugged me. Like, to me, the concept of we figured out a way to bring the grabber back and it's already baked into the lore of the first movie, like, I was sold on that. Okay, yeah, you had kids that were stuck in limbo, whatever you wanna call it, that are reaching out to these 2 kids, just replace them with the grabber, and now he's tormenting them, and he's not totally gone. Like, that's it. That as soon as I heard, like, that basic little bit of the premise, I was like, "Okay, cool, you sold me." And then I started to hear the trailer gave a lot of, like, Freddy Krueger vibes, and I was like, "Ooh, ooh,
Hmm.
yes, please." And all of that stuff I loved. All the Freddy Krueger nightmare-inspired stuff I loved. It's maybe a little too overt, but I'm so Freddy starved, I didn't even give a fuck. I was like, "More, go further." So I loved all that. It's brutal. It is a really dark, gritty, brutal movie. Like, imagine this is not 100% accurate, but imagine the Super 8 sequences from Sinister, but with children. That's
Oh.
Hmm.
a lot of Black
Hmm.
Phone 2.
Oh, so it's
Uh,
R.
eh Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
yes.
was the
Yeah.
first one PG-13? I
No,
don't
the first
remember.
one was
All right, so
R2.
yeah,
Like, the
okay.
first one's a dark movie, but this one, like, literally, like, I think Terrifier 3 kicked open the door on killing kids, and now everybody's like, "Ooh, this is allowed now, sweet." And
There's
so,
your pull quote.
there you go. So, all that stuff I thought was pretty awesome, but all of the lore building and the world building as far as, like, trying to go back and make events of the first film feel more significant than they
Hmm.
actually are, and trying to tie things to the past of the grabber, like, all of this shoving the square peg into the round hole to make a sequel stuff, I was like, that doesn't work for me, and you're betraying how small and intimate that first film was. So I walked out, I gave it like a 3.25 or something like that. Like, I like it, but I was
Hmm.
expecting like damn near 5 out of 5 because that's what I thought of the first film.
Okay.
Most surprising was Sisu Road to Revenge as far as like big stuff. Well, I mean, a tie between Sisu Road to Revenge and Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, because I didn't even know that fucking movie existed. So that was definitely a surprise. But Sisu, I liked the first one. I was like, that was cool. And the second one, basically, I walked in saying, all right, well, it's not gonna be my favorite of the festival, but it'll at least be like a fun palate cleanser. Like, it'll be a nice little breath of fresh air between all the kid death and all the depravity and the all the dark, bleak shit that you get at Fantastic Fest, and then you walk into Sisu Road to Revenge, and I thought it was 5 times the movie of the first one. The action was better, it's got this forward momentum because the whole thing's basically, through, like, planes, trains, and automobiles, like, it's all in motion. And so there was a
Nice.
really cool, energy to it. The action and the carnage was turned up a bit. I thought that movie was awesome, and it was great to see it in that crowd. Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is a movie that I didn't even know existed. It's Gore Verbinski's new film. It comes out this January or next
Mhm.
January, I guess.
Mhm.
And, this was the 4th secret screening, and when they announced that that's what it was, I was like, "What the fuck is this about to be?" Like, I wanted something fun for the 4th one because we had Silent Night, Deadly Night for the first one, which was fun, but, slasher, and then we had Begonia and, One Battle After Another, and I'm like, "Okay, we've had 2 prestige Oscar bait type films in a row, like, give me something like Predator now." And so when they said Gore Verbinski, like, I'm thinking A Cure for Wellness, like, I'm thinking, like,
Dude,
it's
Gore
gonna
Verbinski's slept on, man. He did the
Yeah.
Ring remake.
he did The Ring, he did the Pirates of the Caribbean, like, he's got variety for sure.
Weatherman, dark comedy.
I should not have had that knee-jerk reaction, but the last thing that I saw of him, and then they said, "Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die," was just a title where I'm like, "What the fuck does that mean?" I'm
Yeah.
thinking it's gonna be like this heady sci-fi movie or something
I
like
get
that.
what you're saying.
Yeah, and so they play the movie, and I'm like, "Ah, whatever, we'll see what this is," and I'm not lying to you when I say within one scene of Sam Rockwell walking into this
Mm.
diner wearing, like, this raincoat time machine thing, and he just takes the stage and Sam Rockwell for him, I was like, "Fucking in! This is the movie I need." And, we'll be discussing this movie a lot on this episode, I'm sure, but it's essentially about Sam Rockwell is a time traveler from this apocalyptic future where AI has fucked humanity. And he has gone back in time to this diner, and there's a certain configuration of people in this diner that is the one kind of like in Avengers Endgame, the one scenario group of people that we can take as resistance fighters to go and stop this AI from being created this night. and the whole thing is like this satirical comedy with a little horror, a little action, a little sci-fi, and it really like holds this flashlight up to bizarre shit in today's society that we just treat as normal, like
Mm.
everybody everywhere just walking around like this.
Mm.
And it literally, like, we'll get to it when I say the comedy spot later on, but like it makes school shootings the funniest bit of 2025, which is
Another
just
pull
like,
quote.
how the fuck did you do that? And so that movie was one where I was like, I had zero expectations for it, and it walked out almost being my number one, and ended up being my number two.
Did you end up seeing If I
Yeah.
Had Legs, I'd Kill You? If I had legs, I'd kick you?
No, and I that was the one of the big regrets. So the first time that it was playing against something I really wanted to see. I don't remember what it was, and then I had a ticket. I had a spot secured on the second time, but it was playing at 11 a.m. on like the back third, and so I was like, oh, I don't want to fucking like. You have to wake up for the logistics side of it. At
Mm.
Sean's house is 45 minutes away from the theater, so we would have to wake up, get our tickets, and then immediately leave, and that just wasn't going to happen. So no, I missed that one, and everybody that saw it had it like in their top 3, top 4. So
Yeah, I got an email for it, and I was like, yes, please. And they're like, oh, no, you weren't supposed to get that. I'm like, what? Too late. You already sent it.
fuck you.
Gray, on the flip side, what are expectations like when you really don't? I mean, it's not much different. I mean, I guess with Cody, there's stuff that you're aware of, the heavy hitters, the Universals, the Blumhouses, and everything. But for these indies, what is it better or worse when you're just going into everything blind? And is there anything that kind of like won you over with the no expectations that you had going into it?
Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely harder, like if something has a reputation, some buzz about it, like you definitely kind of know what you're getting. But man, there's two of them that I just completely had the opposite view on. So first off, Bad Haircut, based off of just the name of it, and then
And you
kind
rocking
of the
one?
poster, and then they're billing Jake Busey as the number one build. I just had zero expectations for it, and I knew it was not for me. But I was pleasantly surprised when I actually watched it. Just man, it's got a performance that's just over the top, kind of really amazing. And yeah, I think that one really kind of won me over, where I was just convinced it was not for me. But the other one that it's right down the what really gets me. Like I've got a few like icks, and anything that happens to animals, just man, that really gets me. So I was really putting off Crushed when you kind of sent me the chance to watch that one. Man, yeah. So it's a certain fetish type of thing. Stepping on or using bodies to crush small animals. That just sounds horrible to
Yeah,
me in a
that's a
movie
real
about
thing
that.
for the record. Like that's an actual like
Apparently.
fetish.
So yeah, that just I thought there's no way that that could ever be entertaining to me or could win me over. And weirdly, and also kids in peril. You mix
Oh.
those two together, that's kind
So
of
Crush
where
was
I'm like,
just killing
no.
it for you.
So when I read the little synopsis, I was like, oh, that is not for me. But I was pleasantly surprised. It was done about the most tasteful way you can handle those situations. Uh, Even then, I didn't give it a great score. I think I ranked it above you guys, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything redeeming or positive or apologetic to say you got it higher than me. I was like instant 27, bitch.
Yeah.
I was convinced it was going to be like an instant, like 0 stars or thumbs down for me. But
It's as
sadly,
close
it's
as you
like
can
a
get.
lukewarm thumbs up for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Different strokes.
It's one of those things where halfway through it, I'm like, all right, so they're not really showing anything. So this won't be requested by any of the Who Would Like That fans. So I'm watching something that I should be aware about, but it's not gonna like I'm watching it for no apparent reason. And having multiple languages and children performing multiple languages, those are choices. And
Yeah, that was bizarre. It's a
Mhm.
UK film that was shot in Thailand where everybody speaks English.
yeah,
Mhm.
and there was moments where they
Sort of.
spoke Thai, like the mother and the little girl.
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe they were stronger actors in tie, but when they were speaking English, I I was kind of rooting for there to be a tighter edit or something. It just
Thought you were gonna say I was rooting for Mr. Jeffries. I was like, what?
Wow.
no, it was just wooden and weird. Like I don't know, it certain things lingered and
Yeah.
not the best.
But it has a lasting impact. Can you ever hear that meme music the same way?
Oh, the I hate
I think
everything.
it ruined the song for
Yeah.
me, which great. I'm happy with that.
That might be a placeholder, because
Ooh,
that's a royalty-free song, so they might put something
I
else
hope
there.
they don't. It has so much more impact with the meme music over it.
Sure, I guess so. Um, Cody, what was the red carpet like? I know you did a couple of things.
It was a little different this year. So I've only done the red carpet this year and last year. And last year it was at this little cafe across the street where they basically would just like rent it out, I guess, for the week. And even that felt kind of cramped because it's just like a red carpet on the side of the wall. So I did like Terrifier 3 and Never Let Go last year. And this year they added a 10th theater to this location. Uh,
Hmm.
3 years ago, and it's called Room 237. It's all Shining themed, and so it's a small little extra theater, but they basically took away the entire lobby area to build this theater, and they just took that theater and made that the red carpet room all this year. So that took away one of the theaters, but it was all in-house. Still extremely cramped. You
Mhm.
think about a small movie theater where it's just where the screen is, that's your red carpet. So, I only was present for the red carpet for Shelby Oaks. Sean got access to that, and I came in just to kinda help him, just to be the camera bitch while he did that. He also did Coyotes, which I could have joined in, but wasn't super interested in. I think I was doing something else at the time. And
You
then
mean the red carpet, not the movie?
yeah, the red carpet, but
Okay,
I
but
wasn't
you
crazy
saw
about the movie.
Coyotes. Oh,
I
okay,
did. I
okay,
saw it before the festival even started, actually. I was a screener that I got, and I watched it beforehand to free up that time slot. Um
smart.
So yeah, the red carpets are weird. You know, they're very stressful. They're very like not very personable because usually you get in there like literally how it is. The few that I've been to is if you get selected for it, they have the red carpet with the little background behind it, and they have a bunch of little posters on the floor, little pieces of paper that have people's names on it, and you have to stand in that spot. And usually we're towards the end. I don't know why it always works that way, but you're towards the end, and literally they just go down the line, and everybody asks a certain amount of questions, and the people at the end always end up getting fucked because the people in the beginning want to ask 10,000 questions, and
Mhm.
so by the end of it, they're like, one question, guys, two questions, guys. It's usually very like time constrained. You're trying to ask a question to you're literally there to promote the film, so there's usually not a whole lot of like personal chit chat back and forth or whatever. It's very much just like, what was your inspiration for this story, or something like that. And I usually tend to use those clips kind of spliced into my review. But the red carpet experience was fine. The interview stuff was pretty cool. So you have two different ways. You can do the red carpet, or you can actually have an interview slot. And we interviewed Chris Stuckman and the two lead actresses from Shelby Oaks. And Sean did Death Stalker, the director and the lead actor. And then we both interviewed the director of Sisu. That was Sean's interview, and I kind of like just stepped in to ask a couple of questions really quick. And they have a little karaoke room. There's a bar lounge attached to this theater called the Highball, and the upstairs is all these the private karaoke rooms. So they just took the karaoke rooms and made them the interview rooms for a couple hours each day. And then we also interviewed downstairs when it was much noisier inside the actual lounge, the composer of Shelby Oaks. So I did more interviews this year than I've ever done, even though there was only 3 or 4 of them.
Nice. Hayden, $5 super chat. Thank you. Hey guys, love the Dexter episode ranking CPO. That's not mine. I was reacting to something. Just listen to New Lost in the Shadows, Cody. It was awesome as always. Thank
Cool.
you, Hayden.
Thank you.
Yeah, likes would be appreciated. Thanks in advance for doing that. But yes, Gray has the right. I will be reading super chat at the end, but for the sake of just getting it out there, thank you and all that. Gray, we we had a bizarre. So you took part. You did the voiceover for my bizarre interview. My first interview was through translation, which um, I was under the impression that all of these would be like through a Zoom call or something, and the director was most comfortable just doing like a question and answer through email. Um, and I know that I sent you the answers to read. Um,
Mhm.
did you experience the film? This is for the Japanese film Curse. Did you watch the film first, or did you have the answers first? And how does that affect your experience?
Uh, I think it would have been okay. I did watch it first. I think his answers made sense, and they kind of showed almost exactly. It made a lot more sense, kind of seeing it, but I think they would have made a ton of sense either way. I guess I just repeated myself twice on that, but yeah, I don't know. I think with that you might be getting more thought through answers through the translation, where like a lot of these guys, like if it's on the red carpet or just like off the top of the head, they might not be pulling a lot of the references. Where I think you gave him some time to think about his answers. I thought he had some pretty thoughtful answers.
Yeah, I'm going to swing this for both of you. I'll swing it back to Cody. When you experience a creator's, an artist's answers for something a bit more thought out, does it give you like this unfair advantage with stuff? Like I know you spoke with Stockman quite a bit about Shelby Oaks, so like you have like 5 hours worth of experience on this 90-minute film. Does it make it feel like it's a more full experience when you get to speak to the filmmaker?
It can go either way. With Stuckman, obviously, there's a lot of personal connections for me for that. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was rewarding, and I don't know if I would phrase it as an advantage because I usually try to relay all that information to my audience and give them the same advantage, but it definitely gives you a different perspective. You'll watch a film like with Shelby Oaks specifically. I watched it at home, a screener, that part of the film wasn't even in the right aspect ratio. So, sometimes you have screeners where it's quite literally like the worst way you can watch a brand new film, but
Or
it
your
is what it
name
is.
just right on the top there,
Oh
just like,
my
yeah,
god, yeah.
there's
Luckily, it wasn't one of those, but I've had those where it's just like, "Fuck you." Like, I might as well just give you a bad review now. Like,
I
why
know
would you
who
do
I
this to
am.
your own film? Yeah, exactly. So I watched it at home and I liked the movie. And then whenever I watched it in New York with the Kickstarter starter screening, packed house full of Chris Stuckman fans who all, like myself, financially contributed to the film, it was a very lively audience. Much more fun to watch the movie in that audience. You can hear
Mhm.
the gasps, you can hear the reactions, and everything. Like it just you can't recreate that. And it was after interviewing Chris for 30 minutes and even talking with him for a half an hour before we did the interview. And so I got more perspective on certain things in the film. And so yeah, you do experience it differently. That's one of the reasons why I tried to be as transparent as I could when I did my review. It's like, look, this is my experience. I'm being open about the fact that there's all these other extra elements that don't typically present themselves when I go to the theater and watch a movie and come in and turn the camera on. And so yeah, there is a little bit something different there. But I've also had it go the other way, where like what the fuck was that movie called? In a Violent Nature, for example.
Oh,
Hmm.
Saw that in Overlook, and, I thought the movie was okay. I wasn't gonna be crazy about it no matter what, but the director's answers in the Q&A made me like the movie less because he just came across as kinda pretentious. Now, maybe he was just drunk, nervous, whatever. Like, sometimes people's sense of humor just don't land, and so, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but, yeah, a lot of his answers were just like, "Oh, we did that just to piss you off. Oh, we did that because, like, we wanted to make something that the film nerds hated and the slasher fans hated," and it's like,
oh
you're
yeah.
it was like a tone of that where I'm just like this frat boy humor where I'm like, "You're fucking annoying me with these answers," and so, like, my perception of the movie dropped, so, yeah. I mean, it can go either way.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I guess if you didn't like something and you get to speak to the director a bit more, so like you kind of answered it, but is there a chance that you can experience something that like maybe you didn't see it the way that they were trying to intend it, and after hearing from the filmmakers, you're like, actually, I didn't like that, but hearing your reasoning behind that, I can maybe don't appreciate it, but I understand it.
I don't know if I have a personal story that kind of confirms that, but I would assume that's a possibility. I don't think there could be any interview or an answer somebody could give that could make me go positive on a movie I didn't like, or reverse. Be like, you know, I like this movie, but your answer pisses me off, so fuck you, 2 out of 5. I don't think that's a possibility, but there could at least be something there where maybe it was a gripe that I had or something I was on the fence about, and they give some context where I'm like, oh, okay, all right, yeah,
Mhm.
that makes a little sense now that you say that. Like, I'm sure that that could happen. I can't think of anything off the top of my head where I've had that happen though, but I don't have a lot of experience yet. I'm still pretty green with the interview stuff.
Yeah, I guess the one place that that would be advantageous is if you're kind of on the fence and kind of meh. And I guess if there's things that you're again on the fence about, so maybe it helps you understand what their intent was, and for whatever
In a
that's worth.
Violent Nature could have been that film, honestly. Like, again, not to keep picking on the guy, but, like, you had In a Violent Nature where everybody's questions in the Q&A was very clearly like, "I didn't like this, explain this." And it was like, you know, "Why did you decide to use 4:3 ratio?"
Mm,
Just film shit, like, I don't know, like, it was just, like, there was no artistic, like, "Oh, we did that to make it tighter and to kinda have the" there was no that, it was just like, "Ah, fuck, I don't know." And it's like, well, you had an opportunity to sell me on it and you failed. Or you're like, why did we spend so much time just watching him walk and hearing
yeah.
you're like, I just we needed it to be feature length or like, you know, I'm making some shit up, but like all the answers were like that, and it's like,
Well,
come
yeah.
on, man, give me a fucking bone.
Yeah, you were in the perspective of the killer, but then you'd hear things from like down the road, crystal
Yeah.
clear. Like, wait, what? If I'm with this guy, why am I hearing everything down the road so
Exactly. So
loudly?
that's an example where if the guy had given thoughtful answers or there was an actual purpose to a lot of those, I could have walked away saying, "Hey, you know, the movie overall didn't work for me, but I understand what they were going for." You know, did it work to the intended effect? Not really, but I get it. But
Mhm.
that wasn't the experience. So yes, I could very easily see that happening.
So real quick, we'll kind of chop this up in little chunks. We all of us have seen VHS Halloween and Coyotes. I think we're of different minds, especially considering how you are with Coyotes, Cody. Which one would you like to discuss first?
I mean, we can do Coyotes. Either one's fine.
Okay. Gray, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken, when we first spoke, this was one of your big ones for you, right? Of the
Yeah,
of
I
the
mean,
8 we've seen.
granted, we'd only seen like I think 5 at the
Mhm.
time, so it was one of the more enjoyable ones. I think I did only give it like a 3.5, but you know, I like horror comedy. This seemed like it hit on a bunch of levels for me in that, and I like features, so to speak. So this kind of it hit some of that home for me, but it did have some effect shots that were a little bit questionable for me. But some of it that was practical, I don't know, it really kind of worked. So I would wish that they had changed some things. I'm assuming since it's out, I think like next week or 2 weeks from now. I think it's out on like the 17th, so I think it's next week. Um, yeah, I'm assuming they're not changing like any of those effect shots. So I don't know, but for it
Coyotes,
being
I
kind
think,
of
is
a
already out. I think it came out on the 3rd.
was it the third? Okay,
I'll double
uh,
check, but I'm pretty sure.
another one that was the 17th. But yeah, I enjoyed it about as much as I thought I would. It was a breath of fresh air compared to some of the other ones. But that being said, it's still not like a home run. But man, compared to some of the horror comedies I've seen lately, it kind of worked for me.
Yeah.
Well, my bad. You guys
Mhm.
can see it now in limited release.
So to what Gray was talking about, Cody, you saw it on a big. Oh no, you didn't see it on a big screen. So never mind. I was going to
Yeah,
ask about the fur animation because it looked odd.
it looked awful.
Okay, you said that word, not me. But yeah, I was like, is this AI? I don't know if it's
Well,
maybe
Had some
needs
uncanny
some.
valley
there
to it.
was a number of people in my little my TikTok friend group that had seen the movie like the week prior to Fantastic Fest. I don't know if they were just giving out screeners that early or what, but that was kind of the running the running prelude to the movie before that was like, oh my God, the coyotes are AI. And that was all I knew about the movie. And I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just have really bad CGI, but you watch the movie and it's legitimately on that line of like this might be AI generated. And for
Yeah.
me, what did it was the same animation every time it showed a close up of the coyote. It was like,
Yeah.
and it was almost like on repeat.
Yeah.
And so that
And the
Had a
was
couple
light,
of practical shots that were
the
yeah,
reflection off the
interesting.
fur
they were
was really weird.
glowy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. It had like that Scream 4 Vaseline look to it, almost like it was odd. And if that was the only problem with the film was that the coyotes, they had such a low budget that they didn't have the best CGI or AI or whatever, I could have forgiven it. But it just the whole mix of the movie, it felt like they had all the ingredients, but they just didn't know how to cook with it. So they had Justin Long, who is great with horror and
Mhm.
comedy, and especially when they put them together. You have Kate Bosworth, who's really good. They're a married couple. They have built-in chemistry with each other. You have a movie that has like this ticking time element of the LA fires that never feels like it's this ticking time element. You have the coyotes running around, and it's just like they're AI generated, so they never really feel like this present, threat in the movie. Every time it watches them, or every time it cuts to them, it's just like uncanny valley.
Mm.
And you have neighbors and everything. Like I just never felt like any one ingredient of the movie was hitting. So it didn't like I didn't hate it. It was in my bottom 5, but I was just like, what's going on here?
Hmm.
Like it just kind of never moved the needle for me. It was totally inoffensive, but it was a movie where I watched it and I just went, okay, well, whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting. As more of a comedy, I appreciated it more. Like with the animation aside, uh, I've spoken to people. I've been around people that are from California, and a lot of the caricatures that were in that movie, it felt like it was. I don't know. I would say it felt like a lot of the characters were heavy handed with some of their silly nature, and I think there's a bit of social commentary there that it, like I said, it's heavy-handed, but I guess if you're just trying to watch a Sharknado type thing with coyotes, you may not see it like that. But it was silly, so I was able to appreciate that a bit more. Normally, I don't like silly things like Sharknado. It's not quite as extravagant as that, but I guess I appreciated it more as a comedy, certainly more than as a horror film. But um, yeah, I'm trying to think what was that movie last year with what's his face from Captain America? Was it just wolves, werewolves? Frank
Werewolves,
Grillo.
Frank Grillo, yeah,
Oh
werewolves.
yeah, the werewolves.
Yeah, I liked coyotes more than werewolves. That's for
I
sure.
did not, and I was
I
not a
don't think
big
that
fan
one
of
was supposed
werewolves
to be
either.
a comedy. Like it's just a little bit different, but that one is supposed to be kind of straight up action. And man, the comedy comes from the lack of story there for me. This one again, I'm not going to say like it's out of the park for me or anything like that, but I liked Justin Long's characterization. Like there's a lot of similar characters that he's played like this, but this kind of take on it. It worked a little bit more for me. I liked some of the elements that they were doing, the graphics. He's an illustrator in this, so they incorporate that in some of it. And then yeah, I did like some of the characters that were in here. The neighbors specifically, and then the friend. Like it kind of it worked for me, but perhaps it was all about where I was at because I was in a real dark place right before this.
Hmm.
So it helped me for that. But again, even in that, I only gave it like a 3.5.
Yeah,
So it was trash.
of the movies that.
Inside joke.
Yeah.
No, it's just average.
Yeah.
So a movie that technically, if you have Shudder, you can watch it now. Premiered at Fantastic Fest. It is VHS Halloween. I'll admit that I'm not really a big found footage guy, and I haven't seen all of the VHSs. Um, s-
Why not?
So isn't there like 10 of them? Isn't 10,
I think
8,
so. There's
7?
a lot.
It feels like it.
They're
Yeah,
like a
there's-
yearly thing at this point, aren't they?
They're a
so.
Fantastic Fest tradition. Every single year they play
Tradition.
one at midnight. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Cody, how did you feel about VHS Halloween?
Thought it was all right. I'm same as you. I'm not a found footage guy. I'm not even really a big VHS guy. Like it's just kind of part of the experience at this point. I thought last year's VHS Beyond was really solid. I really liked that one. I don't think this one's near as good as that one. Part of it is because like this is titled VHS Halloween, and I really only felt like 2 of the 6 bits actually were like baked in the Halloween holiday. The other ones just kind of felt like they could been in any VHS episode. But it was solid. You know, I thought all of them were at least good. There wasn't one segment that I just hated, which is usually my experience with VHS. Most of them, it's like there's one that I really like, there's 2 or 3 that I think are fine, and there's usually one of them that just grates on my nerves the entire time that it's playing,
Yeah.
and I didn't have that this time. There's one that's especially brutal. I didn't necessarily get a lot out of it because it was just, like, for shock value in my opinion, but, like, that one people have been talking about a lot. Even our buddy Rudy, messaged us in the group, and he's like, "Holy fuck, this one," and,
Which one? The candy, the fun size, or
no, I
the
think he was
house?
talking about the one with the photographer, the kid's photographer.
Oh, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, that was just like, let's just do something brutal. Again,
Yeah,
Terrifier 3 kicks the door open and everybody's like, yes,
yeah.
my time is nigh. But yeah, for me, the 2 that I liked the most were the ones that were most Halloweeny. The fun size one, and the one at the end where the haunted house kind of comes to life with that haunted record. I thought that was pretty cool. So I like the fact that VHS gives different directors a chance to be creative and to just bring something into it. And sometimes they go off and do really cool things. So I like that excitement level of it every single year. But this one I thought was just fine when it averaged out. I liked 2 of them quite a bit. I thought the 3 of them were okay. I didn't like the wraparound story at all with the haunted soda or whatever the fuck that was. I didn't get what was going on with that. That felt like somebody that watched Halloween 3 that were like trying to do their own version of the giveaway at midnight. And it just felt like the bit was done in one, and then they just kept revisiting the same bit over and over and over, and I
I
never
wrote the
really
script
figured
for
out.
that, Cody. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Diet soda's worse for you than regular.
There you go. And then, you know, the other thing that I'll say about this one, which it's probably true for more than half of the VHS movies, but it always does bug me a little bit. They never present like a narrative reason why we're watching these VHS tapes. You have that in the first movie. I've seen the first one where like it's literally somebody finding these VHS tapes, and that's the wraparound story. Why they kind of abandon that sometimes, and it's just like, here's a collection of shorts. Just to me, it's weird. You should always find some way to have somebody on Halloween find these tapes or something.
Yeah, I even appreciated every now and again in the shorts where they would acknowledge the fact that they had a camera, and like they'd put it down and just let you, the audience, know, yeah, we know we're holding a camera, so here we're gonna do this thing.
Mhm.
Gray, how about your experience with this Halloween?
It is very similar to Cody's. I was totally and yours, I guess. I was totally off the VHS thing. Like found footage really isn't my thing, and anthology or like horror shorts can totally work, but then they can also not work for me. But man, last year with the I forget what it was called, but the Aliens one, it totally kind of brought me back in. I was hoping that this would be on par with it. I think the 2 that Cody mentioned, both the Halloween, the fun size, and the whatever the haunted house one at the end was called, were also my favorite. I think I like the wraparound a little bit more, but still, it's got no reason why it would be there or why it would be cut up into like interstitials or whatever the hell it is. That being said, it's a fun gimmick, but yeah, it feels like it goes on too long. But
Mm.
still, I didn't know exactly where it was going to go, but I don't know why you would do what they did with that. There's one other one that it feels like I've seen like I guess I don't know what the other haunted house one is where they go trick or treating and just go inside. That one
Coochie
is
Coo or something like that.
yeah.
Baby one,
I
yeah.
feel like I've seen a version of that like 10 other times
Yeah,
in
Barbarian.
some form. Yeah, well, and some of them are done much, much better, where it's like this just feels derivative, but it's not really doing anything. And that's kind of how I felt a lot of the VHS ones. But man, it still shows me that like there are some fun ways that you can work these shorts into a movie. But man, I do wish that there was some sort of through story. I'm missing that with this one.
Yeah, the fact that there's short stories, some of them are okay. That coochie coochie coo thing creeped me out the most. Like I felt myself like when the six titted thing was out there, I was like, that's odd. But when the shorts missed, man, they missed hard. So it was like 3 up, 3 down, or maybe 2 up, 3 down, and one kind of So it kind of takes you out of it. And I agree that the soda one, for as much as I'm diehard about soda, it was kind of like once it repeated after one bit, it was like, oh no, please, no more. I feel like the fun size, the candy thing. There's a part where a kid eats a candy bar and he's being a bit funny. I would have appreciated if they went for a dark joke there where maybe he was I don't know, a bit of a bigot or something, and it turns out that what he was eating was something that he wouldn't have appreciated. Um, but it's not that big a deal. It's just I don't know, because of the nature of the found footage thing. Like every now and again, no, even if it was something that I was like, I don't know, enjoying. I give it a 2.5 out of 5. It was still like I don't care. Like I don't care about any of this. Why is someone walking around with an old school video camera when they have a fucking cell phone in their pocket? Like it just those things. I
Yeah.
forever second guess and question those movies. So I don't think I'm being fair to it, but at the same time, like I wouldn't voluntarily go into something like that. And
I
say,
think you're being fair to it. I think that there's a reason why that genre was running rampant in the late 90s into the early 2000s, and then it kind of died off, aside from just the fact that they got really bad, and it was like, okay, every January and February, it's some bullshit found footage movie. But I do think you need to adapt the format for today's time, and I think there's been some movies that have done it. Like one of my favorites is Chronicle. One of the maybe 3 or 4
Mm.
found footage movies that I really like, and I love the fact that they actually explain, like, why the fuck would you keep filming? It's like, oh, because he uses his little powers to keep the thing in the background the entire time. It's like
Yeah.
the little things like that to justify why we're doing what we're doing, and like how the fuck you're being chased by a killer, but you're still like, shit, like it
Yeah.
just
They didn't quite justify it in this one, but they tried to. Like in Fun Size, they kind of do a couple conceits.
But, like, so
it's part of the costume.
So Rec, I mean, I don't know if you can keep making movies where there's journalists in the movie, but in Rec, like
These cops, body cams.
she says something like, we have to record this because people won't believe what we saw. Like that is enough for me in something like Rec. I guess the same thing happened in Quarantine, but it just this small little throwaway thing that like would get. I agree, Cody. You've swung me back over. Yeah. So before we go further, I'll go to our awards session, and then Cody can kind of spin off of that. And so we have these little categories here: best scare factor, funniest, best emotional impact, most thought provoking, most unique concept, best world building, best social commentary, hidden gem, best use of violence, gore, SFX, film I'd show my friends first. And something that I know we all have seen, and I'm intrigued. And you already talked about Primate, Cody, on best use of violence, gore, SFX. Both Gray and I agreed that it was Dolly, which you quite enjoyed.
I think you're inflating it a bit. I thought it was solid. I thought Dolly was solid. Dolly was a movie that I walked out and I said, there's potential here. There's give and take with that. Like, I think that there's a cool grit style to the movie that I liked. It very much Texas Chainsaw type inspired movie. I think that the fact that they have Sean William Scott in there, I always get kind of charmed with when he's in. I was really excited when they said he was in the cast. I was like, oh, please fucking tell me he's going to be here in the Q&A. I'll stand up and say Stiffmeister. But yeah, he wasn't. And so him, and then you have maybe even more so, you have Ethan Suplee later on in the film, who I thought was awesome in this. And I've been a huge fan of that guy ever since like Boy Meets World. It just inspiring with his fitness stuff, especially, but as an actor, I've always found him to be just criminally underrated, and he's great in this. I think the movie's good at kind of having that like nasty factor with whether it's gore or bodily fluids or whatever. It's definitely like, oh, like you get the reaction. The things I didn't like about it, I thought the chapter marker shit was pretentious as hell.
Yeah, too many too.
Especially when some chapters are like 5 minutes long. It's like, what have we been doing here? And the fact that they name certain chapters with something that kind of spoils what's about to happen, it's like, okay, well, I guess I know who's in the room now. And so didn't like that at all. I thought the last 15 minutes of the movie really petered out, where they just couldn't really figure out a way to end it, and which was kind of reaffirmed even more in the Q&A. It really felt like they're holding on to their best ideas for sequels, and I just never think that's a good idea. Like, it's cool if you have something mapped out, but Dolly to me feels like, I think it's going to be successful enough. Like, you
Yeah.
and I had the same thought, where it's like, this is a movie that the horror community is going to get a hold of. It's going to be the flavor of the month.
Mhm.
And then, the anytime there's like a scent of is that a new horror icon? Like, people go nuts for it. And so I think it'll find its audience very easily, and we'll get a Dolly 2 or whatever. But it did feel like the movie could have done a lot more and didn't reserve so much for the chance that they get to make more films.
Yeah, I think it's style over substance more than anything. Is that the story is, if there is one, it's quite thin, but the look of it, the gore, there's something that happens with a jaw that it was just certainly wince-worthy. Not exactly a kill either, which was super fucked up. I just feel I don't know if it's me thinking cynically about the horror community, but like I was watching it, just knowing it, like stepped outside myself and was like, I don't like this, but I'm pretty sure the horror community is going to love this. I don't know what the hell that means, but it's got like all of the makings of a 5-movie arc. Quiet stalker person doing weird things, keeping someone hostage, and it looks like it was made in 1980. Gray, what were your thoughts on Dolly? I know we've discussed this before, but
Almost exactly what you're both saying. It's got a style to it, and it's got what could be a real iconic character, and it's the introduction of Max the Impaler, which, I kind of assumed that there was going to be kind of a twist, and then the twist that I was assuming didn't happen. So, I think it's kind of an interesting introduction to this actor, former wrestler. So, I look forward to what they could do in the future. But yeah, that it really kind of it feels like it's a slightly it feels like it's heavily inspired by like the Terrifier type films, and if this is like the first one in a series of what they're trying to do like that, this could be a new horror icon. I think this would have played a ton better in an audience where just kind of watching it in a screener. Man, I really wanted to like this. When I saw again who's in it, like Sean William Scott and Ethan Suplee, like I'm just down. Like I want to love this film, and just I didn't end up having as good an experience as I wanted to, but from hearing what Cody's saying that they kept the good ideas for the sequels, it feels like it.
yeah.
That being
They even
said,
had
there's a buzz about this.
they even had a QR code at the end during the Q&A for like a tip jar, which was very weird to me. They just stayed up there. It's like, tip your filmmakers. And I was like, what the fuck? No.
I want to see where they could go with this, though. There's elements that are cool, like again, the character, the actual, horror elements of it, how far they're willing to go with the gore in this first one, and how much they put to practical effects. Just man, and then the implement that is being used. It's somewhat unique while being very similar to a lot of other ones.
I mean,
So I don't know.
Something else I hope that they hone in a lot on, and when they get to make more, is this movie is also one that really, really pushes that line of like how many stupid character decisions you're going to tolerate. It didn't bug me as much in this one for some reason, when normally I'm the first person to call foul, but there's a ton of times where it's just like, let's knock the killer unconscious and then run out of the room. And it's like, bitch, the first 3 times you did this, that didn't work. So it pushes it a little bit. I had a number of people that liked the movie okay, but that was their biggest thing that pushed them away from it. That I saw it with, is they were like, dude, after like the 4th time, I couldn't fucking deal with it.
Funny thing is, there was multiple movies that had this person who was trapped, who got like really brave, and it wasn't just this bad haircut. There's a moment where someone who's being held against their will gets really frisky and brave when nothing about their situation should have that happen, and It's odd. There were a bunch of movies that had overlapping scenarios, and like above all else, I think Dolly, the look, that's a creepy looking mask. This like porcelain doll mask with the eye all fucked up. That's like half the battle, maybe 2/3 of the battle with certain people. If the look is good, they'll buy merch and show up every day. I don't know. Cody, you had Primate as best use of violence, gore slash SFX. Care to
Yeah,
divulge further?
there was a couple movies in there that I could have swapped out, but Primate was the one I wanted to kind of showcase just because it was practical. And I just love when you get a movie that says, fuck that CGI shit, we're doing practical. Like the monkey itself, the chimpanzee suit is practical. It's a suit that a guy is wearing and it looks really good. Like it rivals some of the best like practical animal suits that I've seen in a long time. So that in of itself is worthy of praise. But yeah, it's a movie where every single kill and gore scene is heavily practical. I'm sure they're aided with CGI,
Mm.
but to the point where it blends together and you don't notice it, which is the best use. And so when you have a movie like this that had no reason to do that, I mean, it's a fucking killer chimp movie that's coming out in January. They could have cheaped out with CGI and would have made the same amount of money. But the fact that you have a director that was like, no, we're going to actually stick to practical. We're going to show faces getting ripped off. We're going to show heads exploding and everything. It's like, yes, thank God somebody still gets it. So that was the one to me where, it kicked off the festival with a bang where it was just like, fuck yes, practical's still alive, baby. There's still some of us out there.
Mhm. So one we trying to see if all right, so best social commentary. I already discussed Coyotes before about the heavy-handed nature of it. Gray and Cody agree that Apopheniacs is their choices for best social commentary. Um, I don't think I've technically spoken, not even in DMs. I don't think we've spoken about Apopheniacs much at all, Cody. The thing that I keep hearing about it is Tarantino.
Same. And that annoyed me.
I don't know if I would agree with that. I mean, it's you know, Go
I get
is a
why
similar
people are
movie.
saying that
Mhm.
because anytime you get something that is non-linear and different sets of characters and they make even like one brief pop culture reference that's not pertinent to the plot, people are like, oh, Tarantino, but like I I would not use Tarantino as a selling point for the movie.
Well,
It's just
they certainly did. They tried. They literally had a Blu-ray or something in the movie where it's like, "Hey, Django Unchained, look, we know who we're trying to be
yeah,
like."
yeah, and
One
so
character whose dialogue feels like it's just so Tarantino-esque, and it
yeah.
is kind of one of the intro characters. So I don't know. It I can understand, but it gets far away from Tarantino.
Mhm.
Yeah, and another ongoing theme of this festival, it seemed, was AI, and Apple has a really intriguing idea that they introduce, and like it's probably the most realistic of anything that
It
we can
is.
talk
That's
about at
why I
this
chose
moment.
it.
Uh,
Hmm.
care to share that emotion, Cody, about how someone decides to just run off with
Well,
AI creations on social media?
I mean, that's the thing that's scary. Like I've thought about that possibility ever since this deep fake and AI thing has started to become more popular and more available to everybody. When it felt like something that only like computer whizzes could do, it was one thing. But now where there's literally just apps out there where you can do like we're not far away from this movie being a regular day occurrence for a lot of people, and
Right.
especially for those of us where there's hundreds of hours of footage of us on the internet. You could literally make videos of me doing and saying anything at this point,
I
probably.
have.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Done.
And and that the scary thing is like, we've seen it firsthand and secondhand. A lot of times, people don't even need something like that to confirm some negative story about you. It's just if somebody says it, they're like, "Cool, that's true."
Yeah.
And so it doesn't take much nowadays for somebody to fuck with you or, even potentially destroy things about you because all they have to do is get the right person to retweet it or phrase it a certain way or whatever. And when you have this technology where you could literally put somebody's face onto somebody else doing a racist rant or like it's not really a spoiler because it's the opening of the movie, but like take somebody's face and put it on a porn and be like, oh, your wife's fucking your best friend,
Yeah.
something like that. Like you can do that nowadays, and it looks so convincing that unless you're somebody that messes with AI or like, you know, somebody that knows better, like average people don't fucking care because we live in a society where it's just about the headline. I'm not reading the article. Fuck that. The headline says it's this. That's what it's about. I'm running with that. And now the headline's just the truth. So yeah, we live in a time where it doesn't take very much for the quote unquote masses to run with something, whether it's true or absolute bullshit. And when you have this technology involved with it, it's going to be even harder to try to battle stuff. Like, you know, if you have a video out there where somebody shares it on Twitter, you know, 20,000 times of, you know, of Charles going on a racist rant at a Starbucks, does it matter if Charles says, that's not me. Here's a video that looks identical to it with another dude's face. Like, is it gonna matter? Yeah, like, you know,
It
and
was a
that's
Dunkin' Donuts, but I understand
yes.
your sentiment.
Yeah, so I've had that thought long before this movie came out. It's like, that's gonna be scary whenever that's something that's just readily available, and the movie just shows you, like, the most heightened, over the top version of that, which unfortunately doesn't seem that heightened or over the top because that's kind of a I mean, gore-wise,
Yeah.
yes, but, like, if you get the wrong person and sees a video of their wife and their best friend fucking that's absolutely fabricated, they're still gonna react the same way. You know what I mean? And so it's
Mhm.
yeah, that to me was a movie that it's meant to be fun and goofy and everything, but it was like, yeah, that's terrifying.
I mean, nobody would be dumb enough to film themselves in their studio doing stuff like that, but, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
It's AI. No, it's not.
No, it's definitely not. Good. Go
That's
ahead, Greg.
basically my same reason for putting it on the social commentary. Just man, so it's always been a possibility, but I don't know. Now when I open up Twitter, I'm seeing one of two things. Either it's a video that's like corrected down below, like this is actually an AI video, or I'm seeing like actual death. And man, it's hard to distinguish between both of those. It
Mhm.
just I do not want to
I
go
mean,
back on Twitter, but man, this thing
to the
is so
point where just to interrupt you, I'm sorry. To the point where
no, yeah.
we had like a political assassination not too long ago where for the first few hours, everybody, myself included, was swearing that was an AI video because it just looked so
Dude.
disturbing.
Yeah.
And then it turns out to be real, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I had seen that prior to them being announced as no longer with us, and I'm like, "There's no chance that person is alive right now."
Yeah.
Sorry, Gray. Good.
No,
Pick it
it's
up from
just
there.
well, you know, it's kind of that who you gonna believe, me or your lying eyes? And man, when you can actually put it in video, and you know, AI could fill out the rest of it, and just make these videos that, you know, on a second look, maybe you can tell that there's something not real. Like I'm thinking of one where it was a deer and the antlers just weren't quite in the right spot. Yeah, you can see that. Maybe you don't see it on the first viewing, but man, this is step one. Like imagine it years from now, months from now. Just this is going to be a real threat. And yeah, I didn't have that fear before watching this movie, but
Yeah.
yeah, now it's a real fear.
Yeah, so it plays like a Tarantino type film, an interconnected style, but something that I would say it does differently, not better than, but differently than a Tarantino movie is the third act gets really quite messy, quite horrific in a good way. Like things get out of control. Not to say that Tarantino doesn't, but I don't think any events of the movie for the first two acts led you to believe that things were going to just fly off the handle with the gore in the third act. And I don't know, Cody, how did you feel about the way things really kind of spiraled out of control in that third act?
Carnage candy wise, it was fun. My biggest issue with Apopheniacs is that I wish that the stories weren't just so separate from each other. Like I felt like they needed more of a through line to have like a point or a narrative end to the movie, when it really just felt like almost like a collection of shorts that were put together that had the AI through line. Like the guy that was doing the AI videos seemed to be the wraparound, and it was eventually going to be something significant. And then it, you know, spoiler alert, it doesn't quite go that direction. And so that was the one thing for me where it kind of left me a little cold at the end, where I'm like, I wish there was more of a end point in sight here. But Carnage candy wise, yeah, I like how the movie like literally progressed. Like every act, if you will, gets a little bit more ramped up, and then significantly so in the third act to the point of like hilarity.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I parrot exactly what he's saying. There is some carnage. I think specifically the first story ends in some good carnage, but I was not expecting it to heighten quite as much as it did. So I was considering this one for the use of violence as well, but I think Dolly had it just a little bit beat with the practical effects. But man, the gore in this one is fun.
Yeah. I would try to compare Apophyniacs closer to Go than Pulp Fiction, but and that's not like an insult or anything, but this filmmaker definitely is sending a love letter to Tarantino, but I don't think they quite have it just yet. But I've seen worse things, that's for sure.
If you're trying to sell it, you sell it because it's like Pulp Fiction, not like Go. But
Sure,
fair enough.
sure.
I hear what you're saying.
I'm not sponsored or being paid, so like Go is what
Yet.
I'm saying. So next we have this is one I really wanted to see, and Cody has it as best scare factor. Cody has Obsession. Gray, you have The Curse. We haven't spoken about The Curse yet, but Obsession was something that I've heard quite a bit about and couldn't link up with anyone for any coverage. Tell us about Obsession, Cody.
Yeah, so Obsession is the feature film debut of Curry Barker. So he is a YouTuber. Um, he was kind of rose to prominence. At least him and some friends rose to prominence doing like prank videos, things like that. I'm not familiar with his actual YouTube videos, but
Hmm.
he really exploded onto the horror scene. It was either last year or the year before with this like 50 something minute short or like almost feature length film called Milk and Cereal, which I had not seen. I had heard a lot about it, but all I heard was found footage, and I was like, and it just never really made it a priority. And Obsession was a film that dropped at TIFF and got a good amount of buzz, and then it played again at Fantastic Fest, but it was very hard to get into because it was only playing on a couple of theaters. And full credit to my buddy Chuck, who I do the Lost in the Shadows podcast with. He got me a ticket, even though I was like grayed out of it whenever tickets were live. And Obsession is basically you have a guy who really, really likes this female coworker of his, but she's very clearly friend zoned him. And so he gets this little trinket gag gift or whatever that lets you make a wish, and he wishes that she loves him more than anything else in the world. And disastrous results ensue.
Mm, mm.
And it's a movie that, and I've since gone back and watched Milk and Cereal and like it quite a bit. And there's certainly elements of Milk and Cereal that you can see where this movie takes things even further as far as the style of Curry Barker. He gets a really great balance of really sick, twisted, disturbing stuff as far as the tone, as far as the images, but also having like this very appreciated sense of humor in it that never like cuts the tension. It just kind of like it lets you feel less comfortable or less uncomfortable for a moment before he then makes you feel even more uncomfortable later on. But yeah, it's a movie where you have this girl who is now absolutely infatuated with this guy, and it just continues to build to these sick and twisted places. Like they're just to give you an idea of one scare in the movie that was like one of the most terrifying moments as far as just being a guy, especially. You know, you got the guy, he's got the girl of his dreams now, and he wakes up in the middle of the night and the whole room's dark and she's not there. And he's like, what the hell? And all you see, like, think about like Hereditary, where Tony Collette's in the corner of the room, but you have to kind of like
Mm.
see it. You could miss it very
Turn
easily,
the
or something
brightness
like
up.
something like that going on in the room where he can hear somebody and he's like, "Babe, what are you doing?" "I'm watching you sleep."
Oh.
And yeah, like, and that's just a hint of like it gets crazier in just that one sequence. But yeah, you have Indy Navarrete or Navarrete, I don't know how to pronounce her name, is the actress. And if you are single and you watch this movie, you will stay single at least for another couple of years. Like, because you're gonna be like, fuck that. I don't want to be loved. Never mind.
Mm.
And yeah, it just it really blew me away. Seeing it in the theater, having no expectations for what the movie was, no idea what the premise was. I just knew it had buzz. It was one of the few movies that genuinely like unnerved the fuck out of me numerous times.
Yeah, I think something that this might come with age, maybe not. I don't know. I feel like when I was a kid, scary only meant like jump scares and creepy people in masks or whatever. And over the course of time, I've kind of leaned into appreciating stuff that like is just fucked up. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need a
Mhm.
creepy guy. Like, there's stuff that, like you said, someone. I mean, Together is a bit of that fucked up shit. Same kind of premise, terrible movie for people in couples. That dependence thing. That there's not gore or anything, but it's just I don't want to think about that. That kind of creeps me out in a way that I wouldn't associate with a creepy dude in a mask. But Gray, The Curse, Japanese film, kind of sticks back to the social media, not AI so much, the internet as a looming threat. Thoughts
Yeah.
on it for its scare factor, the Japanese film The Curse?
So your mileage may vary. For me, like The Ring or Ringu and The Grudge, they really kind of get me. I don't know why, but those kind of stick with me, and it kind of makes me want to like turn on a light before I enter some rooms at night in my house. But yeah, so this is right up that alley, and it is again about a curse, but kind of a different take on it, and it's Japanese Taiwanese co-production. So you get this awesome kind of world building and culture involved in this too. It's not just at like one location. But man, I kind of dug it, but it's not the scariest movie, but it has some scenes that really kind of stuck with me. And then if they just get one effect changed in this, I think it could be a really successful movie.
Yeah. There's a scene that this movie doesn't. It's not slated to come out until January, so they might still be doing work on it. But this is one of those movies that I enjoyed. But hearing the director's perspective on something, it kind of like turned up the volume for me. I was like, oh, actually, I kind of appreciate that more. Where without spoiling anything in the movie, the director made a point to bring up that we lie on the internet, like on social media, like people put pictures of avocado toast, like that. You don't eat that every day. That's like a super stylized version of your breakfast. We lie to people, and people hate the lie that we're telling them, but that's not us. And as someone who's on a public platform and has a couple of people that like or dislike some of the things that you're putting out into the universe, Cody, you could probably agree with this a bit more. Someone who just doesn't like your vibe can really, if they had the right power or the right ability to cast a spell, um, if this were a true story, that people could really fuck with people, and based on just something they're seeing on a social media app or Instagram or something, like, oh, I don't like the fact that he wore that shirt, so I can't stand him. And people aren't
I'd have
emotion.
every fucking disease known to man by this point.
Just the Halloween community alone.
3.4, fuck you, AIDS.
Yeah, so it certainly is creepy. I mean, just like you said, it's, someone who takes something a little too seriously and doesn't understand that you don't take those things as seriously. It's really creepy, and I would suggest to circle The Curse. It's a Spanish. It's a Japanese language film, much like Ringu and The Grudge, or It Follows. But there's a bit of a twist. There's a human element to that curse thing, and I'm fascinated by it. Like Gray said, though, there's one shot where it's just like, oh, can you go back into Premiere and work on that, please?
I thought there was multiple effects in that movie that were weird. Like
Oh?
even the ones that they try to do practical, like the one where they try to replicate the Exorcist head spin, and there's so clearly like
Mhm.
a separate torso in front of the guy, and he's just on like a little spinning plate. Like
Oh,
that movie's effects outside of the opening, which I thought was incredible, bugged the fuck out of me.
Yeah. The
Mine was there's a hand scene, but I guess I like those cheap practical effects. Like that just kind of brings me back to like movies I love. So the head spinning, like you mentioned, but just there's a really cool idea, and it just doesn't feel like the execution
yeah.
is where I want it with the hand thing.
I had a note that I had to write down. I was like, all right, 2 minutes in, and I'm already fucking creeped out. There's something that they show like rather early. It's the opening, like It Follows, where something gets stuck in a wheel well, and I was like, All right, you have my attention. What the fuck's going on here?
Yeah.
And
That's where the movie peaked for me, unfortunately.
yeah,
I never thought that it
Mm.
quite lived up to that opening.
understandable.
Mm.
I wouldn't dispute that very much at all. But there's something that happens in a bed that was second runner up for, I don't know, the awards that they gave out at the festival. The bed situation was also ran in an award category. Creepy, but yeah, it depends on, like Gray said, your mileage may vary. Funniest moment, Cody has good luck, have fun, don't die, and Gray, you have bad haircut. Cody, I think you discussed good luck, have, or was that prior to us going live, or was that?
No, I discussed it a little bit in this stream, but I'll go a little bit further with it
Okay.
without trying to spoil the best bits. But yeah, like Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is very satirical with its comedy. So essentially you have Sam Rockwell that, you know, he introduces you to the movie. He walks into this diner. Hey, I'm a time traveler. This is like the 115th fucking time I've met you people, but I need to find the right group of people to help me on this journey tonight to stop this horrible future. And after the movie kicks off, it very much goes like a couple of days back in time and introduces you to each of these characters that he's chosen this time. So you have like Michael Pena and a couple in one time, and then you have like Juno Temple and another one. And they're really, really sharp and funny with these different segments and what they're actually trying to like unpack about today's society. Like I said, things that are treated as absolute normal today that should absolutely not. And it really it makes it funny by highlighting how ridiculous it is that we treat it as normal. Like I said, everybody, especially teenagers, just walking around like this all day long, doing everything one-handed, like just even eating dinner, you can't do anything but more content. And then you get the Juno Temple segment where she's a mother who just lost her kid in a school shooting. And there's a ton of bits in this that they just build upon, so I'm not going to spoil all of them, but just to give you an idea of where they head, she's sitting down like in this little office, this facility or whatever, after her kid has died in this school shooting, and like a group of like 3 or 4 other like housewives come up and they're like, "Oh, first time?" And it treats it like it's a normal thing. Like this is just a regular occurrence. Like, yeah, you're like, it's a pretty good chance your kid's going to die in a school shooting. And then she's at a facility where she can get her kid cloned. And that's a regular thing. And again, that's just the beginning of the bit. So I'm not going to spoil the hilarious directions that it goes, but it takes something like that and just, holds the mirror up. It's like, we're not far away from this. Like there's a school shooting in the next state and we're just like, it's another Tuesday, and it should like horrify everybody. And so there's bits like that. There's all throughout the movie, there's physical comedy, there's black comedy, there's satirical comedy, and I just found it to be absolutely hilarious all the way through, mostly because of how relatable it is. Again, like so many movies nowadays feel like they're fiction, but they're not that far off from where we are, and that's kind of terrifying. Like that's one of the big takeaways I had from The Long Walk. I'm like, okay, 20 years ago, you would have said that's absolutely dystopian sci-fi, and you watch it now, and you're like, what are we, like 8 years away from this?
8, 4. So I want to preface to everyone watching that Gray and I have only seen about 1/3 of the movies that Cody has. So, funny, a lot less opportunity to have fun. Gray, sing the praise of Bad Haircut, one of the 1.5 movies that we saw that were funny.
So I think you might have switched both of ours around, but I can still give praise to Bad Haircut.
Oh yeah, I anything we were tied with, I switched them. I had Coyotes, but
deal.
If you
yeah, I can talk for Bad Haircut. So I think there's some pretty funny name bits in this. It is like a bit of wordplay, and I got a completely different interpretation than I've heard from a lot of other people on that. So I don't know. For me, just the whole name thing really made me laugh, and it's kind of what I'm taking away on this. And man, I just really enjoyed that performance, and then to top it off with this whole kind of bit on the name, just love it.
Are you talking about the barber?
Yeah, Mick. Yeah, I think there's a kind of a going bit, an ongoing bit where he's giving out these names, but then there's kind of a reveal and just I don't know. For me, I thought that was hilarious, but from talking to other people, they didn't interpret that quite the same way. So yeah, I'd be more interested once this comes out to see if
Oh,
people are seeing it my way or the other way.
I don't know what the nameplate is. That's see now I'm confused. Um,
Fair enough.
so the comparison I made last time we spoke was it's got the stakes, the seriousness of something like License to Drive. It's not exactly the same, but you watch something like License to Drive, and you're like, I don't. This is tension for fucking 15-year-olds. I don't care about this. It's
Shut
not.
up, bitch. It still works at
I
35.
I was just like I'm just trying to give you an idea of the stakes. Like
I know.
and the character, the Mick guy, reminds me of the trickster from Brain Scan, perhaps literally because of the way he looks, but this larger than life figure that is just odd, and it looks fantastic. I would say of the movies that we saw that were maybe independent, I would say Bad Haircut looked fantastic. The opening shot alone at the party or whatever, it looked like they put some production into it, and the record scratches, Jesus, the needle drops, just
Yeah, one after another.
that's a lot of money they're spending on licensing for music. So kudos there. But I think I don't know if that's we were supposed to speak to the filmmakers, and that may not be a thing right now. So I was going to ask them about the release date, but we don't know that just yet. It's a comedy that I'm pretty sure it's going to find a home with certain people.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But you put Coyotes on there. Why do you think Coyotes was the funniest part?
Because he didn't get to see a lot of others.
Yeah, yeah, that is it. No, because like I said this last time, I've been to exactly one house party in Los Angeles, and I've experienced at least a couple of people that are like the characterized versions of the people in this movie, and it's kind of like upper middle class Californianites, not really being prepared for or properly respecting certain dangerous situations, and just being self-indulgent with things. And I just, as something of a commentary, I appreciated that. And again, not like Cody ratted me out. Not much to choose from.
Well, there's a walkie-talkie bit in that one that really made me chuckle. I think Justin Long really sells it.
See, I thought they were going to go somewhere with that. Like I was expecting.
I think they went the perfect place for
Okay,
it.
all right.
It was not what I expected, and I chuckled aloud.
Yeah, I was waiting for a tag there, and I didn't really get it. Gray, you're the only person who thought, well, not the only person, but you have crushed as most thought-provoking.
I've thought about this movie kind of the most, and it could be that I like to clear my mind by watching a lot of memes, and that song is now ruined for me. It is kind of like a standard in those, which kind of brings this back. But yeah, I never thought that I would have given like a second thought to this weird fetish thing, and sadly it has. So for me, this provoked the most thoughts, especially since I thought there's no way that I could possibly ever give this any sort of positive review. And yeah, it was much better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
So yeah, it made me think, but I assumed another one would be taken. So I kind of chose the route that I'm assuming you chose the one that I would have also put for
Apophoenix.
thoughts.
You could put Apophoenix too. I again, I'm splitting up for the sake of bringing up multiple topics. So go ahead, take mine and talk about Apophoenix.
Just it unlocked a new fear for me. I knew that this would be. I knew that AI videos and the fact that you can dupe someone's voice very quickly, and then you can do like some sort of essentially like put their face on an existing video. But I
Mm.
guess I just didn't think of combining all those together as a weapon. And man, new fears unlocked. So I've thought a lot about that recently,
Yeah.
especially with every time I open up Twitter and see a fake video.
Yeah, you take that element of apopheniacs and the curse from the curse, and you can get some really messy shit going down.
For sure.
Shit, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, so just to give you an idea what our household is like, I'm watching Crushed, and Emily plops down, and she's like, "What is this called?" And I say their name, and she goes, "Oh, what, like that thing where people make videos of them?" And I'm like, yes, exactly what you just said. That is exactly what this movie is. She knew what the fucking thing was. And I'm like, huh, okay." And
I
yeah,
take comfort in the fact that I never knew that was an actual thing.
dude, I did too, but like,
I'm normal as fuck.
it's so strange how between the two of us, Emily and I, like, she'll know something that I'm like, why is that a thing? And then vice versa. She like, I'll
The
tell her something.
comedian in you needs to capitalize on this
Yeah.
and make skits at some point. It's like this running gag of you watching something and Emily sitting down and ruining it. Like you from Die Hard all the way to the like just have it where like you're watching and she sits down. As soon as she says like, "How are you gonna fuck this up?" Yeah. What?
I see, like, not even that. Like, I was shocked that she like knew exactly. I'm like, I don't know. It's called Crushed, and she's like, "Oh, not like the thing on the internet where people get cats." I'm like, "That's exactly what it is. What do you mean not
Yeah.
like?"
How the fuck do you know about that? Let me see your laptop.
Yeah. So unique concept.
What was mine?
Thought provoking was apopheniacs. I don't know if you wanted to.
Oh, well, okay, yeah.
Did you want to add?
No,
anything to
it's
it?
fine. I thought maybe I picked something else, but go ahead. I must have picked it on something else.
No. Didn't
I thought I
Oh yeah,
picked
sorry,
the
thought
plague
provoking. I
or
thought it was
something.
unique. My bad.
Yeah. If Gray and I had the same answer, I split ours because there was a couple of ties.
Mhm.
So best world building, which I guess we all kind of discussed this, and so Gray's is the Luger, mine is the Curse, Cody's is Black Phone 2. I think you kind of discussed this a little bit, Cody. Black Phone 2.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, world building, I don't think there was a lot to choose from here. Like,
That's
not a lot of these movies, I think, are world building types, but at least Black Phone 2 is trying to continue to build out the world that it created. I had mixed results with it, but I think that, basically the thing that seemed to be the rule out of Fantastic Fest that I think is probably going to be echoed when it goes wide is if you weren't so hot on the first Black Phone, you fucking love the sequel.
oh,
If you really love the first one, you weren't as hot on where they went in the second one. So I think it's going to be very divisive. But yeah, it's a movie where it takes the concept of the first one. You have this realm of where some people who are dead remain, and they're able to communicate with these two kids. Why they're able to communicate with them, what kind of psychic powers or some kind of connection to the dead that they have. Like it basically tries to expand all of that and what can be achieved through that, what the grabber's able to do despite being now a supernatural entity. So it really does take this small contained story of the first one that has some world building and explodes it out to like Dream Warriors level.
yeah.
And Dream Warriors was quite literally called out as a main inspiration for the movie. So
Huh. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm with you.
I'm actually excited for this one now. I thought my hopes had been crushed on the second one, but this is all sounding intriguing to me.
I tend to agree with you, Cody. I normally think of a term like world building for fantasy, but
yeah,
more and more on the internet, world building, it can be a movie about 9/11 and they want to talk about the world building. Yeah, Manhattan, just the world building is good because it's New
Yeah.
York City on 9/11.
yeah. Like I almost would have picked Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, but you don't really see the apocalyptic world. The world they're showing us is just like a heightened satirical version of the world we actually live in. So it's like, what's it building? Nervousness for where I live.
Gray, and you have Luger, which I have for another category, but you can break the ice for us.
Yeah, so I definitely also agree that I don't think this bunch of films necessarily had
Right.
like very vivid worlds that were built, But man, the world that this film put me in, I believed. I thought, yes, these are the type of people who would be involved in this type of business, and this is how seedy the underbelly would essentially be. Just man, I believed it. Where some of these, they felt a little less world buildy and more, I guess, dreamlike, or just we're getting a snapshot of kind of nothing outside of there. But man, especially that kind of opening shot where you can see like from this coffee shop to this kind of garage. Man, that totally. I just believed this world
Yeah.
was going on. So while it's a small world that it builds, still, I didn't for a second not believe it.
Yeah.
So for me, it was kind of the most vivid world building.
But over the course of the movie, there's a stolen car that has something in it, and we're with less than honorable people. And throughout the movie, we're discovering just what type of connections this stolen item has, and just what type of people interact with one another. And it's fascinating. I thought it was going to be much bigger than it was, but it was grounded and believable, and I kind of appreciate the movie for doing that as well. Hidden gem, Cody, you have the plague. I have Luger, and Gray, you have bad haircut, but I think we were tied on Luger. So, Cody, the plague.
Yeah, so The Plague is a movie I walked into, knew nothing about, like most of these films. That's kind of how I approach the whole festival, with the exception of the big studio stuff. And it's a movie it's a coming of age drama, like a teenage drama, but kind of through the lens of like a horror thriller. And you have this kid who joins this water polo team where the coach is Joel Edgerton. And he gets there and immediately he's kind of a socially awkward kid, very immediately sees that there's a clique within the water polo team, and there's this one kid that is totally ostracized and horrifically bullied. And they all say that he has the plague because he has like this skin condition. And the kid who's our main character wants to be accepted. He wants to be part of the clique, but he doesn't really understand or agree with why we're treating this other kid so horrifically. And eventually he starts to befriend and be, actually cordial to the kid we're not supposed to talk with. And then suddenly he becomes the ostracized one, and they say that now he has the plague. And
Hmm.
so it's a film that never really graduates past teenage boy drama, but the way that it's shot, the lighting, the cinematography, the score especially, it very much plays it like this slowly brewing like horror thriller. And what I loved about it is that it's such a cool way to kind of present the anxiety and the horrors of like the social stuff that comes along with being a kid and a teenager, and how horrific kids can be. Where you literally have this kid who is just like, I don't get, like, he's a human being. Like, what are we doing? And then they're trying to basically ruin his life for it. And suddenly he does start to have like this skin rash, which, logically you say stress probably, but
Mm.
it kind of hit home for me as like, if you're bullied that consistently by so many people, like psychologically, you start to believe the shit that they say about you.
Mhm.
And I had a very similar experience to this movie when I was in like fifth grade, where there was a kid who was bullied all the time. And we ended up bonding very like out of nowhere over like Pokemon cards or some shit back when I was into that. And I ended up hanging out with him a few times after school. And I was like, he's a fucking cool kid. Like, what's the deal? I don't get it. And then whenever one of like the popular guys found out that I was hanging out with him all through sixth grade, I was horrifically bullied. And
Jeez.
so it was a movie where I was like, I feel like I'm watching myself. It's really well done, really well acted, but it's a movie that I don't imagine is going to make a big splash. Like, it's going to limited theaters. December 24th is what I saw, and then wide on January 2nd. I would imagine it's going to quickly like go out of theaters and not probably make a big thing unless it gets a lot of awards consideration or something, which I think it deserves. But I would not be surprised if it's a movie that very quickly floats under the radar. But it was
Mm.
really well done. It was my number 4 of 27. I think it's really effective. The whole message it has about, bullying, of course, but just being comfortable in your own skin and not being afraid to be who you are and not letting other people dictate who you are. I just really resonated with.
Yeah, Gray, I'll let you finish this off, but it's so for people who don't know, they see lists, and there are a couple categories where Gray and I had the same thing, and Gray gave me a backup. So if we had the same thing, I just split them amongst us. So a couple of these, it's actually Gray, but for the sake of me not having to talk all the time, don't hold Gray 100% to that list. It's a blend of us two. And so Luger is something that I don't know if you felt this way, Gray, or what, or maybe it's just me. Like when you see enough horror movies, something different. It's like fresh air, finally, something that's, it's this like crime caper thing where people are trying to go get a gun and I think the fact that it's a foreign language film, it's a Spanish language film, makes me have to pay attention more. Gotta read the TV. But it's something that I'm really kind of excited for, if only for the change of pace. I don't know if that's what you would say about it, Gray, but Luger, thoughts?
Yeah, I think very similar to that. Yes. So the second that one ended, I really wanted to watch it again. I know that's the one that I think my wife would probably enjoy the most out of all of these that we saw, and she does love horror. But yeah, I don't think I'll be recommending like Crush to her or some of those other ones.
Good
but,
man. Keep that marriage strong.
But I don't know. Like I had certain scenes that just kept playing in my head, and when I was describing, she just asked like, "How were some of the films?" And I kind of kept talking about this one. So yeah, I think Luger for sure. It's a hidden gem, and sadly, because it's not in English, I don't know if it's going to get the recognition it deserves. But man, I hope more people see that.
Yeah.
That being said, my other hidden gem was Bad Haircut. I don't think anyone's going to go and see this one. I don't think they necessarily chose the greatest title and poster for it, but man, my expectations were at like 0, and I had a great time watching this. There's one performance, and it's again that Mick character, Frankie Ray. I don't know why this dude hasn't been kind of front and center in more things. I guess he used to be like a stunt actor in National Treasure. So hell yeah. And he's been like a little tiny bit part in a bunch of other things. But man, this dude has some incredible range, I guess. Just I didn't for one second not believe this character, where there's been a bunch more over the top kind of eccentric characters recently. I guess kind of Longlegs comes to mind. And
Yeah.
there's times where I really could not believe kind of Nick Cage in that performance, but for not 1 second did I kind of doubt Frankie Ray. And yeah, sadly, I think his performance outshined everything else in this movie, but I hope people get eyes on this for his performance alone.
I think above all else, Bad Haircut looks like $1 million. No matter what you feel about the plot and things that, like I said, right off the bat, like there's a jib shot. You got like actual music, playing. It looks great. It feels like a teenage comedy or a college comedy right off the bat, and it kind of settles into its story after that. So it's gonna find a home somewhere. I'm certain of it. If only on looks alone, it'll probably go on like Roku or something.
Yeah, I could see that.
Film I'd show my friends first. Cody, you have Sisu Road to Revenge. I have Luger, which we just spoke about, and Gray, you have Apopheniacs. Cody, Zissou Road to Revenge.
Yeah, I could have went with Obsession too, but since I already talked about that one, I wanted to highlight something else. So Sisu came out, like 3 years ago, something like that. And I liked that movie, but I wasn't as nuts about it as some others that I'm friends with. It's about a guy who, in the tail end of World War II, if I'm remembering correctly, he's coming back home with a bunch of gold, and Nazis who are still occupying his country essentially try to kill him and take the gold back. And he's basically going to go on this war path, fucking up Nazis the entire time to get his gold back. So stylistically, they have nothing in comparison, but the way that I've described it is just like a quick little, to give you an idea, is like the action style of something like John Wick with Nazis, just watching one guy tear through a bunch of people. It's not like John Wick at all, beyond just the one dude fucking everybody up. But nonetheless, I liked it. Sisu Road to Revenge. What you were saying about Luger is what I assumed Road to Revenge would be for me. It's like, okay, it's probably not going to be my favorite movie of the festival, but it'll be a nice palate cleanser after all the dark, bleak, death movies that I'm going to be watching all festival long. And this was maybe the most fun premiere of the entire festival, certainly in the conversation of it. For me, this was like 5 times the movie of the original. I think that the action's better. The carnage candy's dialed up. You got Stephen Lang as the villain here, who's always a great villain.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's kind of it's continuing the story of the first one, where it makes it a little bit more personable, where, this guy, the main character, whose name is not Sisu, I think it's like Atomy or something like that. He goes back to home where his family's already been slaughtered. They're dead. That's one of the reasons why he's, got such a chip on his shoulder. And he basically disassembles his family home, and he's trying to move the lumber for this house to a different country that's not currently under war, to go and rebuild his family home. And so that's the personal mission of the character, is just, I'm taking my memory of my family, I'm trying to put it in a better place. And you have Stephen Lang, who's leading a group of Soviets to take him out, because he's the one who led the people that killed his family. So he's essentially brought out of prison to take out this monster that he's unleashed. And so it's Stephen Lang and 100 different dudes versus, the character from Sisu. And it's all in motion, whether it's like vehicles or a train or airplane. So there's a lot more ambition, and the gore and the creativity with the kills are just so much fun, especially in a crowd like this. Tonally, it kind of bridges the gap between something grounded like John Wick and then something ridiculous like The Transporter, where there's just like absolute asinine shit happening. It's like somewhere in that spectrum, because you'll get moments that are like, that's bullshit, but I don't care because that was fucking cool to see. Like, he literally flips a tank, at one point. And so it was a movie that's just a fucking wild ride, where you're just watching one dude kick ass and do crazy shit for 90 minutes plus, and it was an absolute blast. So yeah, like for most of my friends, usually it's like, what's some really wild horror movie, or what's some really badass fun action movie? So Obsession or Sisu could take either of those, but Sisu Road to Revenge, I came out of just buzzing like, fuck yeah, that was a great time.
Nice. Yeah, I kind of explained why with Luger. I feel like with a limited amount of films that I saw, and we haven't really had award season yet, because foreign language films tend to be a bit more, I don't know, diamonds in the rough. If this film was nominated for like foreign language film, or at the very least cinematography was good, like if it's nominated for like a Saturn Award or something like that, I'd be like, oh, I knew it, but I really don't. There's not much to compare it to, but it's one of those things where I don't know the foreign language stuff, like what, how the scope is of the quality out there. But I know at the very least, there's quite a few people that I could point them in the direction of Luger, and it's a good time. Again, I think it's the best cinematography of anything of the 9 movies we watched. But Gray, Apopheniacs, I don't know if that's yours, or if I gave that to you, or...
I did both.
Okay.
I was a jerk. I literally just put both of those on this. Luger, I think it's going to have a tougher time because, it's not English. And then I don't know what the distribution is going to be on that. But I think Apopheniacs is going to be everywhere. And I think a lot of people are going to be talking about it. So, yeah, I think definitely check that one out. I know it got a lot of buzz. But, yeah, that one for me, I think it's really easily accessible. But, man, it's kind of unlocked fears I didn't know that I previously had. So yeah, I want to share that with everybody. They should experience that too.
I just want to say, I think your honest answer, Charles, would be crushed, because there's going to be some 31 some point where Brian's going to pick something that pisses you off, and you're like, okay, well, Crushed fits. Let's watch that too.
I can't say no, I wouldn't. So there might be a couple that you haven't brought up yet, Cody, but I just wanted to get
a lot
to a question that was a super chat. Um, Gavin, $5 super chat. Thank you. How much would a typical Fantastic Fest trip cost? I'm interested in going.
I mean, for the basic badge, I want to say it's like $500 or something like that. Don't quote me on it because I always get a press badge, so
Mhm.
I don't pay for my badge. Just full disclosure. But I think the lowest tier one is around that, plus however far you need to travel to get to Austin, Texas, and or lodging, depending on that answer, plus food the entire time. So it's not cheap. You know, there's ways that you can mitigate that. You can go to a store and, you know, pack a bunch of lunches and not eat at the theater every single day. You know, of course, if you have friends that live in Austin, Texas, like Uncle Sean, you can mitigate that lodging and transportation fee quite a bit. There's if you do want to do the Alamo Draft House food, which I do recommend because it's very good. There's ways that I've kind of hacked that a few times where in certain areas, if you live near an Alamo Draft House and a Costco, they have these gift card bundles for $75 where you get $100 in gift cards.
Hmm.
So you
Oh,
can
nice.
there's been previous years before this year because they discontinued it at the Austin Costco for whatever reason, where we've bought 2 packs of those. So basically you're paying $150 for $200 in
Sweet.
credits. Um, yeah, so there's that. But yeah, it can get expensive for sure, if you aren't careful.
What about your backup plan if Jonathan Majors happens to be at the festival? Do you just cancel your plans or you stay at different places? Or
Well,
no?
let's just say this. So I was watching one battle after another, and for 3 hours, I'm sitting there watching this movie, and there's this lady next to me, which is why I didn't notice this, who I guess was his wife or his girlfriend. But we're sitting there watching the whole movie or whatever for 3 hours, and then the lights come on, and you know people are cleaning up and they're doing the Q&A or whatever, and everybody's getting their stuff, and I look over and I was like, holy shit, I just watched a 3-hour movie next to James Franco.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
yeah. I mean, it's yeah, if your name's not Zane, I don't think you're gonna have an issue with
Well,
me being in the same
get
zip code as somebody we're not supposed to like.
get ready for round 3 then, buddy. Holy
Yeah.
smokes. Did you not publicly disown him? How dare you?
Yeah, I know. Did you
Uh,
not take a photograph of you shaming him publicly?
Sorry. So Cody, take I'll open this now to anyone who has questions, but Cody, in the meantime, what do you got that we haven't really talked about yet?
Oh, let's see here. The Silent Night, Deadly Night remake was a pretty exciting one to check out, and that's one that I think a lot of people are gonna have a lot of fun with. So I'm not
Nice.
like a massive fan of the original. I don't think it's controversial to say that you're not a fan of the franchise, but I'll at least say with the original, it's like it's okay. It's fine for a little Santa slasher. You know, it's known more for its controversy than anything else.
Mm.
So it would not have taken much for this movie to be my favorite of the Silent Night, Deadly Night films that I've seen. But I walked in, you know, this is produced by a few of the people that made the Terrifier films. It's Cineverse, who was one of the production companies or distributors or something like that that's tied with Terrifier 2 and 3. So with that, I just expected, okay, well, they're just going to kind of redo the story, but they're going to amp up the gore quite a bit. And that could still be fun if they had just done that. And
Mhm.
this movie really surprised me by not going that route. Not only do I think that the gore isn't like Terrifier levels, which I think there's moments where they probably could have done a little bit more with the gore, honestly, but it's a movie that actually tries to embrace the story and the spirit of the original and do something wildly different with it, which to me is the main reason why you should do a remake. So it was refreshing to find out that that's what the movie was. It blends a lot of kind of wild things together to do its own thing. It's got a little bit of romance in there. The main character is much more of a character this time around than Billy was before. And if you were one of those people that hated on Rohan Campbell because the writers decided to do what they did with Halloween Ends, I think this is going to be a nice moment where he gets back into the good graces of some of those less intelligent horror fans. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed Silent Night, Deadly Night for a lot of reasons. It was a fun movie to watch at midnight at this festival too. So that comes out December 12th. I think horror fans are really going to enjoy that one. I
Nice.
thought that I'm not really big into martial arts films, but a movie that did crack my top 10 was Ikatan Dara, which is an Indonesian martial arts film.
Mm.
And Uncle Sean could speak to this much more accurately than I can, but there's somebody involved with this that has some kind of a tie to the Raid movies.
Oh,
So it's kind of in that style,
okay.
not quite the Raid level, but basically you have this girl who's like a martial arts champion, and her brother gets fucked up with a bunch of bookies. And so it's them trying to survive and fight off all these people. And like you literally have a fight scene where a guy has like that buzz saw that Jason has in part 7. You know what I'm talking about? Like the big
Yeah.
rotary saw.
I froze.
Yeah.
What happened? What about a rotary saw?
That buzz saw that Jason has in part 7, the
Oh,
new blood.
yeah,
Yeah.
the thing on a
Yeah,
stick,
so
the circle on a stick.
there's literally a fight scene where the two siblings are fighting off a guy who's swinging at him with that's really fucking intense. So it's pretty
Sounds awesome.
gory and carnage filled. That's a really cool one to look out for. There was no release date that I saw anywhere for that one. Deathstalker, I had fun with that one. This is the guy that made Frankie Frico last year, the year
Oh,
before, and he
right.
Psycho Gorman, which I think even more people have seen that one. It's that guy making like a Hercules Xena warrior princess
Oh.
type movie.
Hmm.
So it was kind of a fun time. Like I watched it and I'm like, this really feels like something I would watch in the 90s, and I mean that as a compliment. Like if I had this exact movie when I was a kid, I probably would have loved it. You know, it's got actual puppets and practical work and stuff like that. So it was kind of a fun time. A little bit too long. You know, I think a movie like that should never be more than 90 minutes because it's like, you know, the short or like small doses type movie, but it's like almost 2
Mhm.
hours. So I like that one. I can't say that I like really liked this movie, but interesting enough to discuss. Begonia was one of the secret screenings. This is the new, was it Yorgos Lanthimos? Is that how you say his name?
Mhm.
I'm not a Yorgos guy. Not that I've seen all of his films, but
You're in good company.
he's not, he doesn't make movies for me. We'll just say that. You know, I can totally see why people like it. You know, he's obviously a very talented filmmaker, but just the stories he tells and everything is just not really for me.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
is
Emma
one
Stone
that,
again. Awesome.
yeah, and Jesse Plemons. This is a
Alright.
movie that I walked out like as soon as they announced it, I was like, "Ugh, I wish it was anything but this," but sure. And I'll say this: I think it's maybe his most accessible movie that I've ever seen. It's literally
Nice.
just Jesse Plemons is like a conspiracy theorist, and he's got a mentally disabled cousin that lives with him, and they are convinced, or at least Jesse Plemons is convinced, and the other guy kind of goes along with it. He's convinced that aliens are taking over the earth, and Emma Stone, who's like this big CEO of this pharmaceutical company, is one of them. So they literally kidnap her, put her in the basement, and they're like interrogating the whole movie. So it's one of those like kidnapping movies where it's one person asserting something, the other person denying it for 2 hours.
Mm.
And performance wise, it was good. Like it's shot very well and everything. But I don't know. Like by the end of it, I was like, I don't feel anything at the end of this movie. I'm not like, "Oh my god," and it seemed like everybody else was nuts about it. Like, this is just always one of those filmmakers where I just
Yeah.
feel like I'm on an island where
Yeah.
everybody walks out and they're like, "Oh my god, fucking Jesus Christ,
Mhm.
give it all the Oscars," and I'm like, whatever. You were surprised by that? Like, what other directions was it gonna go? So,
I was
I would give it a positive review if I reviewed it, but it's just not really my thing. But that one was
Mhm.
interesting enough to discuss, I guess. Something that was kind of interesting to discuss that I don't really think I liked the movie, is 13 Days Till Summer. So this is a Polish
Mm.
home invasion slasher film
Hmm.
where
Those
you
are
have
words I
these,
never thought I'd hear together.
yeah, you have
Yeah.
these rich kids, these rich teenagers or whatever, and the younger brother of the main character, who there's like this slasher killer that comes in. His mask is basically a face that's flipped upside down.
Hmm.
And they have this high security house where the house locks down like 13 ghosts, and now they're all locked in with this slasher guy. And it made a lot of like bizarrely interesting choices. I don't know if they really worked, but it was at least something where for a slasher film, you know, usually you're building up to the kills with like tension and, you know, then you get the payoff of carnage candy if you're into that, which I am. And it did this really weird editing thing where like you'd have like a whole thing here where they're like having a conversation somewhere else in the house, and then it would just like hard cut to the killer fucking like strangling one of them. And you're like, oh, okay, somebody's dying, whatever. And so it would do like stuff like that, or it would like during a kill sequence, it would splice in images of the aftermath. Like it was doing something, but the movie, while interesting enough, goes so hardcore, bleak, nihilistic, miserable in like the last 5 minutes that it kind of killed the movie for me. And
Oh,
then other
Polish?
sections, Other
Interesting.
sections of the audience were like, that made the movie for me. I love like just absolute bleak shit.
Mhm.
But what's most interesting about the film is that you'll never be able to see it. It's
Really?
not going to be released
At all?
No.
at all.
It sounds
They
so interesting, man. That
they
sucks.
basically I didn't stay for the Q&A because I wasn't a big fan. I was like, I got to go do something else. And the people that stayed for the Q&A came out, and luckily they were like, hey, like, did you know this? And it made the movie more interesting to me.
Hmm.
The filmmaker, I guess they were asking him questions, and it was so obvious the way he was answering the questions that like this is not the movie he wanted to make, and he was not really that thrilled with it. And it was like,
Oh.
oh, this is weird. And
Oh,
turns
no.
out what happened is he was commissioned to make a certain type of film, and this Polish company, streaming service, whoever it was that funded the movie, essentially told him after they were started, like, yeah, never mind, make it this, home invasion slasher thing that he doesn't really like. And so he's making a movie he doesn't want to make.
Oh, so
And
Alien
now that
3.
now that the movie exists, the people that funded it and made him make it the way that they wanted it refuse to release it. Not because it's like unreleasable, it's so bad, but for whatever reason they just don't want it to be out there.
Spite.
And so he's
Hmm.
even gone to other countries and found actual distributors that are willing to pay to put the film out, and the people that own the rights are saying no.
Oh,
So he's
wow.
doing this little film festival circuit and showing the film to a few audiences, and then after that, it's just going to disappear forever. So,
It sounds so interesting.
Huh.
I
Based
mean,
off the editing alone, I'd want to see that.
yeah. So I mean, like, I can get into what happens in the end if you want, because nobody's going to see it to be spoiled anyway. But I mean,
So
it's
maybe when we sign off, I just in
Gotcha.
case they
yeah. As
somehow
soon
work
as I
things
do
out.
it, it
Yeah.
fucking announces coming to Shutter. But yeah, it was kind of interesting for that. Another one that I saw that puzzled me. This is a movie that got a ton of buzz out of TIFF, or not out of Cannes, excuse me, the Cannes Film Festival.
Mhm.
And it's I think it's a Spanish film. It's called Surat, and it's
Mm.
filmed in Morocco, I believe.
Mhm.
And the way that they were pitching this movie, that they've reached out to me directly through my email, and the PR company was like, hey, do you want a ticket to Surat? And usually when they reach out to you directly, it's because they have an idea of your audience and your taste. Like, they reached out to me for Heretic last year. Like,
Ooh.
makes sense.
Nice.
Yeah. And so this one, they're like, Surat. And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. If you're gonna give me a ticket, it must be up my alley. And the whole like blurb or whatever, it's like, it's a genre blender and it's so crazy and you're not ready for Surat. And so you sit down to watch this movie, and I'm like, what the fuck is this gonna be? It's gonna be like some wild, crazy shit. The movie's literally about a group of ravers in the Moroccan desert, like they got all these big speakers and shit. And there's this guy who's looking for his daughter. They haven't heard from her in months, with his young son. And I guess it's supposed to take place during World War III, although that's not really relevant to the movie. That's just like some kind of a detail. So the government comes in and tells all the ravers to leave this desert. And so the dad and the little kid who are looking for the missing family member follows these ravers through the desert, and it's just them driving through the desert.
Sounds like it'd be right up your alley.
Huh.
Yeah, and so and there's some tragic kind of, I guess you could say, shocking things that happen in the back half, but
Mm.
like, it was a movie where I was just like, I don't understand what we're doing. I don't know what we're building towards. I don't know what we're trying to say. Like, I don't if I was to describe the story journey of these, like, aside from people driving through the desert, I don't even know how I could describe this movie. They're saying genre blender and crazy and stuff, and I'm like, what fucking movie are you talking about? I'm sitting next to my friend Gigi, and both of us are just like, and it's a long movie too. And the last 10 minutes of this film, I swear to God, felt like an hour, where like you could just read it on both of us. We're like, can somebody pull the fucking fire alarm? God damn, let me get out of here. To the point where when the movie ends, we leave, and I left my hat and she left a pair of sunglasses, because we were just so like, I got to be somewhere else.
Wow.
And so, like, I'm not going to say like I hated it, but it's just so not my thing.
Okay.
And so many other people that saw it, they were like, oh my God, like, I'm emotionally distraught after this. And I'm like, these are the moments that just really make it clear how different people's tastes are, because you have a movie that literally gets an award out of Cannes, and I'm sitting there watching it like, this is like a fucking endurance test for me. I don't understand at all what we're doing. So that might be a hot take, I guess. We'll see whenever more people get to see it. But that was one where I was just like, why? what are we doing? What is this? And then let's see, there's a movie called Whistle that was the closing film that's coming to theaters February 6th, and then I believe it goes to Shudder. It's got Daphne Keane
Oh, wow.
and Sophie Nélisse, I think is her name. One of the girls from Yellow Jackets, the one who plays young. Shit, I can't remember the character's name, but nonetheless, it's
Not Sophie
essentially
Thatcher.
no, not Sophie Thatcher. I think that's Sophie Nélisse.
There's another Sophie on Yellow Jackets.
I
That's
think
funny.
Sophie Nélisse. Yeah, so she plays who the fuck is it in Yellow Jackets? Sorry, give me a second. So Shauna, young Shauna.
Oh,
So it's a movie that just because it was the closing film, you have a certain amount of hype with it. I mean, they don't typically try to open or close with movies that don't make some kind of a splash. And for the
Mhm.
closing film, especially because it's literally the last film they're playing, it gets like the most amount of screens. Usually there's 3 or 4 different movies playing at once. This one basically had all the screens. So it was like 7, 8 different theaters.
Wow.
And so you sit down for it, and this is quite literally like if you've seen The Bye-Bye Man, Truth or Dare, Tarot, one of those teenagers find a thing that accidentally curses them movie, it's just another one of those. And so it was such a massive letdown for especially the closing film. Like this is something that you would watch and you're like, okay, I understand why that's going to Shudder. But I mean, people kept comparing it to Final Destination, which I wouldn't use that word, but it's essentially you have this little Aztec whistle, this death whistle, and if you blow it, whoever is in the vicinity and can hear it is cursed, where however they were going to die, whether it's in a week, 50, 60 years, cancer, car wreck, dying in a fire, whatever, however they were going to die, death is coming for them and is going to kill them in that way. So mildly creative as far as how to set up kills,
Mhm.
but the movie only has
That'd be
one
cool.
kill that really pays off on that. The rest of them are just absolute duds. And so aside from that one really badass kill that was heavily CGI'd, but very creative, it was just such a nothing burger of a movie to where like we're watching it. And then when that one kill scene happens, I turned to Sean and I said kind of not super loud, but enough where people could hear me. I was like, finally something cool happens. And then like the whole fucking row laughed. And I was like, oh, it's not just me. So
It's such a shame because it seems like it is that whole Final Destination thing. Like a franchise was built off of a very similar premise. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Take
And
advantage
so
of it.
you're following teenage caricatures. Even Daphne Keane, I felt like was very one note in the movie, just like angsty gothic chick who listens to Sex Pistols and shit. So it's
Face.
caricatures set in high school that never really feels like a high school horror film. Like, they sometimes they just don't embrace the high school vibe. And then the only thing that could have saved it is some badass kills, and they had one out of like 4 or 5 people that die. And narrative wise, you're like, I've seen this movie a dozen times. So that was one that, you know, I thought was an absolute dud.
That sucks. Off that premise alone, I would have been sold.
There were a couple people that liked it more than me, but for the most part, everybody was like, why was that the closing film? Like, why didn't you open with Black Phone and close with Sisu or do the reverse or something like that?
Gavin, $5 super chat. Thank you. Am I the only one that laughed my ass off at the boar scene from Strangers 2? It's literally a recreation of the bear scene from The Revenant.
Everybody in my theater at the world premiere of this film, when that was happening, were like, what fucking movie are we watching? What the hell is this? It's literally a
sounds like yes.
gigantic CGI boar that attacks the main character, and she's like in the middle of the woods. Like, just that's the only thing of significance that happens in the movie, and it's for all the wrong reasons.
Dude, why are they following through with that? Because I know the reviews were bad for the first one. I didn't.
They
really
shot
make
them all at the same time. They're done.
Oh no! Yeah, but Kevin Costner had that fucking Western thing that they just bailed
Yeah, I'm
on.
waiting. It was good. I wanted to see the next one.
Frontier,
But,
Horizon.
Yeah.
Horizon.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the first one was terrible. I think a lot of us tried to give some bit of grace and be like, okay, maybe they, for whatever reason, felt like they had to recreate the first film. And now with 2 and 3, we'll actually get the new cool stuff. And then you watch this one and it's like, no, fuck you. You're wasting my time at this point. Like you watch the whole film and it's literally just a 90-minute chase sequence where almost nothing happens. until like the very end of the film where they start to kind of touch on answering some questions. They're not interesting enough answers to sit through 2 movies to get there. And beyond that, like, of all the franchises to do this with, the whole concept of the strangers is you don't need to know. You don't need to know who we are, why we kill, what the motive is. We just because you're home, bitch, that's why. And so to have a trilogy of movies that's clearly just building towards showing the identity of the strangers, who the fuck Tamara is like you've missed the point entirely. And so now it's like it felt like another bridge movie. Apparently in the post credits there was like a little sizzle reel trailer for the 3rd film that I didn't even see because I left. But if they have their coolest ideas in the 3rd film, it's still like you wasted my time with 2 previous films to get here. What the fuck are we doing?
Marcy, can I will share this with Cody once we're not live. Can you give a condensed version of your comment, please?
That's concerning.
There's no, it's heartfelt. It's just it's
Oh,
long.
okay.
It's
Okay,
it's very
gotcha.
it's for an audience of 1.
Tell Cody that there's a video of him on Twitter right now with James Franco.
Yeah, Marcy, I will share this with him, but if you can just kind of, I don't know. I don't know what parts to leave out or to kind of condense. So if you don't mind, you just put it in the live chat isn't moving around that much. If you just kind of shoot it there, I'll re-engage it. It's a story about how your channel and his viewership has come a long way, and it's a congratulations of sorts.
Okay. Well, thanks, Marcy.
And
Like I said,
Oh, yeah.
I'll see the full message afterwards, I guess.
Yeah, but thank you for that, Marcy. It's very long, and it is for Cody. I mean, you say it right off the bat that it's a message intended for Cody. We're talking about Fantastic Fest. If you can just kind of cut to the chase without, it's a request first and foremost, Cody, about you doing a special stream to celebrate 200K.
I'll for sure be doing a live stream at some point this weekend because most of my family is out of town. And so it's one of the reasons why I'm able to do this at 3 something in the afternoon. There's no kids to get off the bus or anything like that. So yeah, I'm planning on doing some kind of live Q&A or something tomorrow or Saturday or whatever.
Great. Is there anything that you didn't discuss from the limited films that we experienced?
I think we covered all of it. I'm just kind of excited to hear some of what Cody had to say about specifically like Begonia. It's been on my list since, I don't know, the start of the year, but I'm looking forward to that November release. If it's the most accessible, good. I hope Yorgos Lanthimos is successful with this. But yeah, other than that, I think we covered all of it, and I probably praised a few of these a little bit too much. But it's fun seeing some stuff that's going to come out real soon.
Maybe. Or you get like a
Hopefully.
Toxic
Yeah.
Avenger where you're like, I don't know. I saw it a couple years ago. Maybe you'll see it one day.
Yeah.
Or 13 days till summer.
So Marcy, with the condensed version, okay, I followed Cody for a long time, over 6 years, since you had about 25,000 subs, and you're my favorite reviewer and YouTuber. But you have also introduced me to an amazing community of YouTubers I watch and people in the chat. I'm thankful for helping me get through some times in my life.
No problemo.
And I'll
Happy to
share
do
the rest with him, Marcy. Thanks for that.
Mhm.
Shit, I had a segue and I just stepped on it on my own. Yep, I don't know what I
There's
was
one
gonna-
more movie I can talk about a little bit that I haven't really discussed.
Can
do you
you?
guys have do you have Night Patrol on your radar at all?
I haven't heard of that one at all.
So this is the second film starring Justin Long at the festival, and it comes out January 16th.
Oh,
and
yeah, I requested this. They said no.
trust me, you wound up on the good end of that one.
Oh,
Yeah, let's just get an idea what the movie is. So you look at the poster, and it's a vampire skull with some images inside of it and like a red and blue lighting, and the tagline is "Defang the police." And so it's essentially the elevator pitch for this movie is corrupt LAPD officers end up being vampires, starring Justin Long. I'm like, fuck yeah, that sounds like it could be a
Could be
badass
awesome.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not.
Mm.
It's one of those movies where you watch it and you're like, clearly the guy that made this film had like 45 different ideas for this movie and just shot all of them.
Oh. Oh, so
Oh,
it's
that's-
the latest season of Monster.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
look, the premise of trying to unpack police corruption and brutality through a vampire horror action movie or whatever is like a really cool concept, but you also have to be very clever and very smart with your writing. Otherwise, it just becomes a heavy-handed mess. And yeah, it's a movie where the longer it went on, the more I disliked it. Where it starts off okay enough. You know, you have Justin Long, who is this good cop who's trying to infiltrate the night patrol, who is like a group of cops that are like known as being corrupt, I guess, which they never really explain why that's tolerated, why that's even a thing. But nonetheless, there's the night patrol, and he's trying to be the new member of the night patrol so he can figure out what the fuck's going on with these cops. And they turn out to be vampires. Here's one thing. If you're gonna make a movie and you have a hook for it, like this one, corrupt LAPD officers that are vampires, maybe don't save that hook for the third act. Maybe lead it, you know, somewhere in the first act, early second act, because otherwise the thing that we all
poster.
Yeah, especially if you're going to tell us what it is, like that's what everybody's here for. So that was a big issue. You have Dermot Mulroney in here as the leader of the Night Patrol, who I think is a really good actor, but I think he is dreadful in horror. And I don't know if it's his acting, I don't know if it's his movie's choices, whatever, but whether it's Insidious Chapter 3, I think his performance is hammed up all to hell. Scream 6 is hammed up even more so. You get to this, and he's just unbelievable. Like I don't know what it is about his style of acting in horror, but it's like, no more, dude. Like, it's just not working.
It sucks because I've seen him do good roles. So what is it with
Yeah,
horror?
same. He's a good actor. Like, I get it, but just with horror, for whatever reason, it just does not work. Whatever his sensibilities with horror is, it's just like, dude, you're a fucking cartoon when you're in a horror film. I don't know what it is. And so it's a movie that just continues to go on, and you have a very easy premise there. It's like corrupt LAPD officers, so clearly they're terrorizing people that don't deserve to be terrorized. Oh, and one of the reasons why is because they're trying to fucking feed off of human beings. Do something with that. Well, what they do with it is they present 3 different characters in the movie that are all kind of switched between as like, which one's going to be the main character? And the whole time you're like, I only care about Justin Long. He's the only one that has anything interesting going on. So why are we switching between these other people? And who the movie eventually chooses to be the main character is the least interesting of the 3. And you end up having this thing presented where like the whole side story and side characters of the movie are Bloods and Crips. And the movie eventually kind of seems to take a position of like, well, the cops are clearly the bad guys and the Bloods and Crips are clearly the heroes of this story. And it's like, you better fucking earn that. And it doesn't. And so, and it even turns into like a borderline Green Lantern film by the end of it. Like, it's fucking bizarre. It's bizarre. There's moments where you can tell they think their writing is so good. So you'll have a shot where like there's 4 or 5 gang members like in a huddle, and the camera keeps like swapping between their heads when they're having this conversation, and it just goes on like 8 minutes too long, where you're like, there's nothing clever in this. Can we fucking move on? Like, I was sitting next to Chuck, and like we're both sitting there like, dude, what the fuck? Like, every minute I'm like, my rating for the movie is doing this. And so yeah, that was one where I'm like, there was so much potential for something cool here, and I don't know what the fuck you did, but that's a January horror film for you. And so
Sounds like a January release.
A lot of these movies this year were, which was crazy because a number of them were actually really good. I mean, Primate was January. Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is going to be January. The Plague is January. There might be a couple more, but yeah, Night Patrol is the one, or Night Patrol and Whistle. It's like, yep, that's January and February. That belongs there.
Yeah, like it's weird because I remember every every year now since you've been going. There's been something where you'd like get in touch with me, like, "Hey, be on the lookout for this. It's coming out." It left something of a mark, and I don't think there's been anything that you've recommended, or not, maybe not recommended, but like told me to be aware of that. I was like, I dug that. Thank you. I think Heretic was one of them. Strange Darling, like that was
Strange
one
Darling
of the
and
best
What
movies
You
that
Wish
year.
For.
What You Wish For, like I that's one of those movies that it doesn't look like. Um,
I remember you messaged, why did you want me to watch this? And I'm like, shut up and keep watching.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, does he think that all I care about is suicide? Because this isn't it. And
Yeah.
sure enough, it goes on a fucking turn.
Mhm.
Coffee Table was another one of them. Is there a movie that premiered this year where you like you're gonna want to tell people to be on the lookout for?
I mean, Obsession is certainly one of them,
Yeah.
but I don't think that's going to be a movie you're going to have trouble finding. I think whenever that gets released, they Focus Features literally threw $15 million down and was like, "We don't even want you to talk to anybody else. This is our movie. Take the deal." And so,
God
No.
damn.
yeah, so maybe summer next year you might see that movie or whatever. Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die is one of the big ones. I mean, it's Gore Verbinski, but this
Yeah.
is a movie that he had to privately fund because no studio would give him money for it, which is kind of a reflection on today's studio system, but also the type of movie that it is, where they're like, "What is this?" It's a movie that people that watch it will love it, but it's just hard to pitch. And I don't even know when the trailer comes out for it how they're going to advertise it. I hope it's just the opening scene with Sam Rockwell. That's all you need, but it's probably not. It's probably going to show a lot of the best bits.
I remember when
That
that motherfucker was in talks to remake Clue, and I was like, "Yes, please, more of that." That was fucking 15 years ago.
Yeah, he was supposed to do a BioShock movie too, which would have been cool. He'd be
God
perfect for that.
damn it.
The Plague is probably the biggest like hidden gem one where it's like this is going to quietly just kind of go in and go out. Like keep an eye out for that one. Um, let's see. A lot of the other ones you guys talked about quite a bit, like Apopheniacs, I don't think is going to make a huge splash. That's going to be something that's going to come out. People are going to latch onto it. Same with
Yeah.
Dolly. Um, yeah, for the most part, that's it. The rest of them are all pretty high profile. I mean, all the other ones you got, Sisu, that's going to find its audience. One Battle After Another's already out. Shelby Oaks, everybody's got their eyes on that one. Black Phone 2, of course. So yeah, Obsession, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, The Plague, and Primate. Don't sleep on Primate. Those would be my ones where I'm like, they're really good. Check them out.
Gray, is there anything that Cody brought up, or of the limited movies we saw that you're like excited to, maybe see and or see if they make changes to these movies?
Yeah, kind of all of them. I wouldn't mind seeing Apopheniacs again. I guess when I say all of them, I'm okay not seeing Crushed again. But kind of the others, I wouldn't mind watching Coyotes with my wife. I think she would kind of dig that as far as a creature feature. But she loves Justin Long, so that seems like that would be on my uh, schedule. Luger, I want to see that as soon as it comes out. The second I was done with the screener, I wanted to rewatch it, but
Mm.
limited views and everything. But other than that, it's basically everything that Cody mentioned. I wanted to see Primates. That's getting huge buzz. And then all of them that he mentioned, including Begonia, all of those really intrigue me. So I guess my January is going to be really full.
It usually is, and it's not a good thing to say that. But while you have the mic, Gray, what do you have coming up on your side of the planet?
New content eventually, I swear. But if you just can't get enough of me, go on over to The Thinkers every Thursday night on That Darn Kidda's channel. That's YouTube at That Darn Kidda. It's an international panel of people who get together, disagree about everything. I think tonight we're talking about Monster, the Ed Gein documentary series,
Mm,
biopic series
mm.
on Netflix. And yeah, you'll hear international arguments about that if you want to. That's about all I got going on.
Yeah, it's gonna be a night of monster, I think. Cody, what about you over there? What do you?
October, actually, I kind of need to plan out some. Fantastic Fest took away a lot of my big hitters because I've already covered them, so I need to kind of figure out some other stuff. I'm probably gonna review a number of the 31 on 31 films whenever I get through some of them. There's a couple of first time watches and things that would
Mm.
be exciting to talk about. I'm going to be most likely doing something for Tron Ares. I saw that last night, and whether it's a full review or a short, I'm not sure yet, but I'll do something for that. I'm going to see Roofman tonight, which I think is looks really good from the trailer. So depending on how good that is. I also have Black Phone 2 next week, so I might try to see it a second time and do like a spoiler review and maybe a Derrickson ranking, something like that. Other than that, I'm still kind of formulating some ideas. I've been doing a lot more shorts and things like that over with TikTok and Instagram and everything. So if you like that type of content, that's where to see most of it, as well as podcasts. So we just dropped an episode today, actually, on Lost in the Shadows, based off of YouTubers turned to filmmakers, because you have quite a few of them at this point. So check that one out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Nice. Thank you. So Marcy got in under the buzzer there. Comment. So I have recently had a TV marathon for the Cinemax TV network original shows, and they've made 6 shows: Banshee, The Nick, Outcast, Quarry, Warrior, and Jet. And I couldn't be able to see Outcast here in Denmark, but I learned that it might be not the biggest deal ever, but I've watched the other shows. Banshee, very underrated, one of my favorite shows of all time, but I think it ended quite underwhelming. I maybe wanted 1 or 2 seasons before ending. Then I watched The Nick, very good and underrated show, but maybe just too much to stomach with my health anxiety. But besides that, I recommend it. Then Quarry, a lot slower than Banshee and has more of an essence to True Detective Season 1. Only lasted for 1 season and ends like a mini-series. Very underrated, but stars Logan Marshall Green as a Vietnam vet becoming a hitman in the 70s. Very good little series if you like similar paced stuff. Then Warrior, created by the same people who created Banshee and based by unmade ideas of Bruce Lee. Very fun show, martial arts show. I like it. But maybe ended to bleak because it got canceled. Lastly, Jet. It's just sort of like Jackie Brown starring Carla Gugino. I like her, but the series was just not for me. This was just me recommending underrated shows, very specifically on the Cinemax network, it seems.
Damn. You kind of got me with Jackie Brown and Carla Gugino or whatever. That just has me sold. So I got to check that one out. But first 2, Banshees and The Nick, are just amazing.
Yes, and thank you for the donation and the comment. For those of you who want to pull a long night with us here on Planet Scredia, we'll be back in a little bit. I don't have the exact start time yet, but Gray and I are going to have a very long monster night. We'll be doing spoiler shit here before we have spoiler shit on that Darn Kiddish channel. So be on the lookout if you're watching this in the future. I appreciate the like. I appreciate the subscribe in advance. If you're looking to have VPN coverage for however many reasons you'd need VPN coverage, whether it be to watch a Netflix series. If you're in a country that doesn't have Monster, I don't know if that's possible. There's a link that is posted in the chat that we both benefit from. It's a deal, and I thank you in advance for checking that out. Until next time. Wait, what? Cody, when are you doing the Dexter hot takes?
Probably within the next week, I'll drop that. I meant to drop that before I went to Fantastic Fest, but I had a ton of technical issues come up. So yes, I haven't forgotten it. It's all shot and just needs to be thrown together.
Okie dokie. All right. So for Cody, Gray, I've been Charles. Thanks for being with us.
See you on the stream later. Bye. Like and subscribe.